Outdoors, another episode live from Mississippi. See if I can get. I got stuff I'm gonna show y'all here in a little bit. I got in the mail. See if I can get chat pulled up on here. And once again, I didn't get up here in time to charge everything up. Brody's running the iPad down, so we got everything hooked up on chargers and all such as that. And this knot in it drives me. I have to untie that. My OCD won't allow that knot to stay in there. Oh. It'll take me just a second to get this all squared away. Get it swapped from. I just noticed. Let me go back just a second. I just noticed something here. Let me go to my channel. It says there's 13 watching. That ain't what I wanted to see. Let me go back. Let me go to YouTube Studio. I just saw something briefly popped up here. I got to make sure it's correct. This version of Studio is out of date. $30,000 subscribers, you guys. Holy dang. I knew we was close. We have officially broke 30,000. Blows my mind. I'm humble though. Very much thankful for all of you that like to watch and tune in. So Larry, y'all got a little rain today. We have got a little rain out here in Mississippi today. It thundered yesterday while I was filming a tide weed hunting blind. I filmed that video today, and I was gonna put it out today, but I hadn't heard back from them to get the links to their products and your discount codes if you wanted to buy one and all such as that. So I just held off on putting the video out. Maybe it'll come out tomorrow, whenever I hear from them. But I filmed the 4th of July video the day before yesterday. It thundered and sprinkled just a little bit, enough to run me out from down there shooting the gun, and then it never really rained. The garden got nothing. But today, we got a good little shower, but brief. It didn't rain very long, so it's still thundering and such as that here. But good of all of you to join in, watching no rednecks sit out here and chit chat and talk and carry on and tell no telling what. I do have the smoker fired up over here behind you. I've got a hog hind quarter on it. I put it on about, I don't know, 1 or 2 o'clock. It's got a couple of more hours. I'm going to let it smoke, let it get tender. And the reason is, if I keep it at about 300 degrees, it'll cook 6 hours, no question. But I've been down there working on knives all day, and I've come up here a couple of times, and it'd be like 150 degrees in there, you know. So I have not just kept a fire going. So I've went and cut some green pecan wood. It really ain't green. My dad cut down 2 pecan trees. It was about this big around, not huge trees, but they were in their yard and they wasn't producing, and they was full of them bagworms, and my mom and them couldn't stand it. They got to go. So he cut them down, and I said, well, don't throw them away, just drag them over there and leave them. I said, and I'll cut them up for smoking wood. So the leaves have all turned completely brown. I went and cut one limb off, and I sawed it up in little pieces about that long, little limb about that big around. So I'm using it to smoke with right now. But I'm going to let it cook a couple hours. I'm not in no big hurry to eat and all such as that. I like to sit here. I did put me some cowboy coffee on the percolator pot over there where I can watch it. So anyway, how is everybody? Uncle Sasquatch, Larry Alexander, good to see y'all. Jason McAllister, John Thomas, David Rush, and Carl P. Question everything. John Bright, my buddy right down here. JL327, Randy Beeson, Randy Mitchell, Tyler Coco, Rodney Dunaway, Miss Mary Anderson. Anyway, there'll be a lot more come on there. Won't hear their name, but anyway, good to see y'all over tonight. I realize there's about 63 people. It's steadily going up. Thank you for joining in tonight. Just go sit here and do like always, talk about whatever y'all come up with. I have been doing product review. I'm sick of product reviews. I got Temu breathing down my neck, begging me to do that, and I just didn't even write them back. Everybody got sideways last time I did a Temu video, and I ain't trying to push their products. I wouldn't mind getting some of their stuff and redoing it. You just have to be real careful what you buy on Temu. And then you got a whole group of people that's like, oh, you supporting this, that, and other. It don't matter what you buy in America. You supporting something you don't agree with. It don't matter what you buy. So you can kind of get over that. But, I mean, if it bothers you, don't buy from it. It's all I can tell you. But anyway, I'm about tired of doing product reviews. But I do have a new headlight I have got to do. It's the same company as the other one. But this little headlight is nifty. Top Strike, y'all, he said, look, I don't want you scared. Look at that. He said, I don't want you scared of losing baits to where you don't want to fish with them. He sent me, I got 4 new packs of baits, y'all. This is how they come. And these spinners are awesome. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do with every one of these. I'm going to go down there and I'm going to get me some swivels, and I'm going to attach swivels to the very front of them. A couple of the packs, I am going to take the hooks off. I'm going to just pull one out right here. They come with a hook protector on there that keeps you from tangling it up all into everything. But that hook is on there with a little swivel ring, or one of them, like a key ring type deal. Now this stuff all swivels around the main shaft, but my experience, it twisted my line up bad, and then when I'd go to throw, it would be twisted up and it would wrap it around the end of my pole. Well, that was driving me nuts. So it just eliminates some of that, and it ain't nothing to put a swivel. Really, you need a swivel on the end of your line anyway. And probably what I'm going to do is tie me a leader like this long and put the swivel up from the where the swivel ain't right here against the bait. But I'm going to take this treble hook off of a couple of them, and I have some of those double frog hooks. Are you familiar with them? Probably on the H&H spinner baits. You know, you clip that double hook in there. I'm going to put a couple of double hooks, a little bigger hook, maybe for both ends. I may put a couple of them single hooks on there just to experiment and see what happens, and if one of it is less likely to get hung up. But I got enough to go fishing, so I have got to get up with one of my buddies over here. Mr. Sammy Robertson had invited me to go with him to a Show Enough Grunnel hole. And I was going to go, and I had a bunch of stuff come up, and I just never did get to go. So I'm going, Mr. Sammy, if you're watching, I'm going to get up with you here in a week or so. We're going to have to go grunnel fishing over there. So y'all look at this headlight. I did a headlight review the other day. All right, well, she contacted me and said, I love your review. I'm going to send you another light. I want you to check this light out. I said, okay, you know. Well, they set this thing, and I'm going to tell y'all something. Let's say this. How many of y'all coon hunt a little bit? You know, you gotta hunt at night, okay? So the problem with a headlight, when you go to hunt at night and you go to shoot and you throw your rifle up with your headlight shining yonder way, watch this. Now it's shining right there down the barrel. Come on. That's money right there. Not only that, that thing pops off of there. Headlight stays in place. Swivel-headed headlight. I got a clamp on it. You can clamp that in your shirt pocket if you want to. Remember them old big green military lights and they had to clip on it? No. You always saw in them Rambo movies, they'd have it clipped on their shirt, you know, right there, be shining around. Well, it's just a small headlight, but hey, y'all, this thing is bright. All of them's rechargeable. And somebody said, I ain't got no use for a light that strobes. Well, none of these lights have a strobe feature. When you saw it strobing, that is me holding that button down to change the... You have to hold the button down to cycle through to the brightness you want, okay? But it does not actually have a strobe, and this one does not have a red. This is just a light, so I just thought it was cool. I've got to do a video. We'll do some better video, but I'll go ahead and tell y'all that I know for a fact it works because I've been watching for hogs out here in the back of my garden. Don't think it's hogs. I knew I didn't see no tracks right there in there, but being they come up here and got in the stuff down yonder and the way it was all tore down, it's gotta be hogs, you know. Well, what it was hadn't been back. Well, yesterday when I cut grass, I cut down below there and I was like, my Lord, whatever it was got back in there. So last night I got up about 10 o'clock. I was in there watching Mountain Men again. Y'all know old Charleston Heston, I think it is. And there's 2 or 3 of them. That's a good movie. The only problem is they talk a little ugly. My wife, we had to limit how much we watch it, but I was wanting to watch it again. I've watched it about 1,500 times. And I got up from it and I said, well, I'm going to go outside and get me a popsicle out of there. It was hot in there, y'all, in that house last night. I'm talking about we had every air conditioner humming. We were still laying in bed sweating. So I got up, come back and got me a popsicle. Well, I grabbed my light that was laying right there by the door, and I shined off down through yonder, and I seen one of them corn tossels shaking. I said, uh-huh. I grabbed old 30-30 up, went to trotting down through there. I got down there, didn't have no light on. I was barefooted as a duck in my pajama breeches. Shined my light over there and didn't see nothing. Same corn stalk sitting. I tiptoed up there, a big old fat raccoon. Well, I had a 30-30. I didn't want to shoot him with it. Wake up the whole neighborhood, which is all shooting firecrackers everywhere anyway. So I come running back up here, grabbed my .22 pistol and run back down there, and I seen him going up a tree out there. I got to shining up in that tree. Y'all, they have ransacked that corn patch, which we got the corn we wanted out and gave a little of it away, but I was going to dry some of it. Probably ain't going to get to do that. There was 3 coons up in that tree I shot out. And then I looked up and there was another one running down. And I don't know how many old fat raccoons is running around down there. So this afternoon, I went and put out 5 of them Duke's can traps. Poured in some of that Meow Mix cat food. We're going to sit up here tonight and listen for them to meow down there, because when that foot goes in that trap, them coons going to start meowing. So anyway, we'll get to check out it. And y'all, I know somebody's going to say, oh, live trap them and haul them off. And once they know where a food source is, you'd have to carry them 10 miles. And they'd still liable to beat you home. I've done tried that. Don't work. I don't kill stuff unless it's a problem creating havoc for me, or I'm going to eat it and use it. The thing that breaks my heart about having to shoot a raccoon right now is the hide's useless. Right now, I cannot skin one fast enough to do anything with it to save the hide, not to mention it's not in its prime. It just ain't good for a whole lot. But it's so hot that hair slips and all that, and you ain't got nothing, so I'd heap rather make hats out of them this fall and sell coon hats or something. I got this leather sewing machine, and I could sew up some coon hats in no time. So y'all, I don't enjoy just going down there and killing them, but I've got to keep them out of that corn if I get any more. I wanted to get enough dried out of it for seed is why I'm still worried about it. Otherwise, I'd leave it alone. The next thing is I got all this other patch of corn that hadn't started tossing and putting ears on that I want to make cornmeal. So if I don't get them out of this patch, they're going to raid that patch too. So you see my conundrum. It's a sad reality, and I know there's a lot of y'all that don't understand it and don't like it and don't like killing stuff, and I don't like killing it either. but you got to do it. I mean, it's just the only way. Sad reality, but anyway, I just thought I'd tell y'all that story. So I did get to try those light out. That burn little light works good. So I got a wad of fish baits, lights, and all kind of stuff. I gotta get some stuff done with. Rodney Dunaway, it has grown, Lacey. I'm going back through comments, y'all. He's congratulating me on 30,000. Those of you that just hopped on, I just realized we have broke 30,000 subscribers. So that is what he was talking about. Tommy Litchfield has made it tonight. On time. Uncle Sasquatch, we ain't even got to talk about him yet. We'll just have to act like he ain't here where we can talk about him. That's what we'll do. Oh. Y'all, there's the man himself, Top Strike Fishing. Thank you for joining in tonight. Yeah, John Thomas, the Lord said kill and eat. My struggle with raccoons is I'm killing them and having to throw them away. And my heart don't agree with that. Nothing in me agrees with that, but I've got to protect my food. So that's why I'm doing it. And I'm not going to just go hunting them down to kill them and throw them down. But I've got to protect my stuff, and it's, it's no different than protecting your home from thugs wanting to come in and steal whatever you got. And when I say thugs, that ain't a race of people. That is some ruffian that wants to take what you got. It don't matter what color they are. I just know that some people think when you say thug, you're referring to one skin color. That is not the case, not even close. But it's the same principle. Let's call him some meth head comes in the front door, wanting to steal my stuff. And you got to protect it. Now, I ain't gonna go out in the yard and run them down to shoot them over it. But if they come in my house, that's we're gonna let that go there. But it probably ain't gonna turn out good. I think it says a lot, Papa D, when a man has to kill something and he don't enjoy it. If you just enjoy killing stuff, you need to be careful, because that can lead to further problems. It's just not a good thing to just say, I enjoy killing stuff. I don't really. I used to probably when I was young, or I thought I did. But now even when I'm deer hunting, I'm standing there watching that deer knowing he's going to taste good and I want to eat it. But then again, I'm sitting there thinking, I hate to have to kill it, I don't know. It's different than it used to be for me. Tommy, I ain't thought about frying them up for the dogs, but I don't know that they'd eat it, really. My biggest thing is I would really love to have the hides. And if I could leave them alone for now, I could have the hide later on. And I may wind up, if I start catching a heap of them, if I catch them in them can traps, their foot usually ain't hurt. And I can possibly take a cage and load them all up, if I got 5 or 6 out there in one cage, and haul them off. And we may do that. I may make a video doing that. Just haul them off down into the swamp somewhere on the core land and put them out, and all them guys down there coon hunting. And that may be the most practical thing to do, because since I have put these can traps, I'll tell you what I baited it with. I put that Meow Mix in there. And my buddy, Don Lanier, had told me about, they put some vanilla scent in a spray bottle and misted them can traps. So what I done is I took that vanilla extract and I just poured a little in that cat food, shook it up good in a Gatorade bottle, and it had a good vanilla scent to it. And they should be if they still up here, if I didn't get all of them, there would be one with his hand, never one of them traps tomorrow. Yeah, George Lindsay, you probably exactly right, and I firmly believe that. I do believe that they had. Tommy, I can eat one, but there ain't no way I can eat 6 raccoons, about 4 or 5. I killed 3, I know, last night and shot the 4th one, and he was in high gear whenever I shot him. So, I know y'all, some of you curious. We usually do some cooking, and I ain't done no cooking, but I am cooking. I just put this way on, and see that this thermometer is way down. So I don't know, it is hot. I don't know if that thing ain't working right. It's saying it's like 150. But I know better than that. I've got to rearrange. I don't like having to walk all the way around all this. But y'all see that fire in there? Let me do it like that. It's burning good. So I believe it is hotter than what it is saying in there. And I still got a few dry. I got a little bit of oat I've been throwing in there too. So, and with that door wide open, it's getting plenty of air. The one thing that I am going to improve on this smoker, and let me walk around this way where I can show you. It's got a real small. My dad built it, and he put what he had over there. But I think I'm gonna cut this off, and I'm gonna go to about a 4-inch exhaust, and I think that'll let more air flow through this smoker. But it works good as a grill and a smoker. It is heavy duty. So anyway, there's plenty of smoke, and I got this wrapped up right now. Let the smoke abate him a little bit, and y'all can somewhat see. So probably what I'm fixing to do right now is I've got some ribs over here in the refrigerator. I'm fixing to go ahead while y'all are looking and throw them on. So let me adjust all these legs on this thing. I had it low like Shorty. Y'all don't know who Shorty is. Don't even act like you do. I got stuff sitting everywhere out there. It's about time. Let me tell y'all something else. Let me turn the camera this way while I talk about this. I want y'all to see all these flies swarming around right here. You see them? Some genius told me, he said, oh, turn you a fan on and them flies will disappear. I got that fan on and there's been more flies in front of that fan than they are over there out from it. So don't try to sell me that no more. You can't believe everything you read in the comment section. I'm just going to tell y'all. I don't know which one of y'all come up with that, but I just want to let you know it don't work. It might have been a good idea on paper, but it didn't manifest good. From now on, when somebody gives me an idea and it don't work, I'm gonna put their name by the comment up in the video by it. That way that puts a stop to that. Show y'all how redneck sizes these up. There we go. You got to get that all over this shirt, because if you're going to wear a shirt like this, it needs some blood splatter on it. That's for more effect. All right, I got to go find my seasoning. This is what we got on everything. Picking and grilling. All right, I brought the paper towel because I know while I was gone, there's a fly landed on that. I can just about guarantee it. And I can't stand a fly. But I wanted to cut these up. These are deer ribs, I think. I don't remember. It ain't wrote on there. Yeah, it's deer ribs. And they'll have that. We cooked some deer ribs the other night, but I left them whole. I chopped them up like this because they're a whole lot easier to eat. If I'd have had a bandsaw out there, I'd have used it. I may get me a bandsaw. I don't know. I gotta go look at this stuff again. Guy I know's got some stuff they want $100 a piece for. It's a bandsaw and a little drill press and a grinder and a buffer. Well, sir, this tripod's a doozy, y'all. Shake y'all around, get y'all all bumpuzzled. Get your equilibrium all off balance. All right, we're gonna lay. Let's turn that around that way. All right, we got them on there. Now, like my sister said, she's watching cook. I promise you, she's watching right now. She's howling, laughing, and none of you get it. We'll leave it at that. Ah, now all that stuff right there is what's attracting the flies. So we're gonna set that off over yonder. The dog, I'll forget about it, and all Roscoe, don't do that. Leave that alone. And then he'll turn that wash pot over. Where am I gonna set that? See if my coffee is ready. It don't seem to be percolating. I don't think it is. Or is it being? I didn't know it. No, it ain't. That barely looks like tea. That ain't gonna have that. That right there box, I was gonna set it on that smoker box, but it really ain't hot enough to make it percolate. It's percolating now though, by George. We turned the fire up on it. Give it a few minutes and we'll have a cup of coffee. We're gonna plop back down in this chair over there and see what all I missed out of the comment section. Wonder if Jesus ever had to cook. I don't believe there's nobody here that can answer that for you. I just don't think there's gonna nobody be able to answer that one. Tommy knew about Shorty. Tommy, did the boots have fur on them, or was they boots with a fur coat? Somebody see if you can answer that one. Beavercraft to the rescue. Yeah, you know, y'all, let me tell y'all about that Beavercraft hatchet. I've had people ask about it. You know, I don't use one like in every video do it. But I had that thing down there today, and I hammered them rebar stakes in there, and it's like 1/2-inch rebar that I welded a nut to the top of it, and man, I pounded them 18-inch stakes down in that hard ground down there. It never softened up. In fact, let me let y'all look, cause usually I pounded 5 stakes. I pounded 5 stakes, and you look, they ain't even hardly no scratches on that. I'm trying to get it where you can see in the light. Right there. There ain't no bunch of dents and mushroomed out and beat all up, because I was hammering them hard too. I like that little thin, light, just right for like a tomahawk. Go with that. But when you got a knife that big, unless you're doing hammering steaks, you don't need nothing like that. That is one of the reasons I like a big knife. I seen Hawking Horse asked the other day on one of the channels, about knives, and I've always got a pocket knife in each pocket. Now I don't think I do today. No, I don't today. I got a lighter in this pocket, but normally I've got my fish knife in this pocket with my lighter, and a trapper in this pocket, and then a belt knife. And for most things, like that Jonah knife will do everything you need to do as far as surviving and getting out of the woods and skinning anything. I mean, whatever you need to do, that knife will just about do it. But there's times when, like, I'm making teepee poles, I can take this knife right here and I can go down through there and knock every limb off there one whack. Go right through them on saplings and stuff. There's just a lot of chores that a big knife, like for a draw knife in a bind when you're working on something. You can grab that handle and grab behind that blade and pull that joker like a draw knife, peeling bark, all. So, a big knife has its place, and I see more reasons to use a knife to chop with, chopping bamboo down, using it like a machete, chopping briars out of your way. You get in a situation where you're looking for a deer that you've shot and you blood trailing him, and that deer runs through a briar thicket, you can take a knife like this and whack briars and stuff out of your way like a machete, where you're not going to take a little short skinning knife and do that, not without clawing your hands all up. So, and I see more reason for doing chopping than I do batoning. I don't do a lot of splitting wood up when I'm building a fire. I do split a little pine kindling up sometimes when I am trying to really get it. But normally I got an axe if I'm going to be splitting any wood, and that's what I normally do it with. So just a little talk on knives while we on the subject of the hatchet. Jimmy Covington, did you catch anything at Neshoba Lake? There's some big crappie in that lake. Catfish in there. I've seen some pretty good catfish come out of there recently. Something else. I know there's been some big bass caught there. Yeah, David Russian, I've told a lot of people I don't never know which hand's going to be free. That's why I want one in each pocket. And that ain't necessarily like fighting, like somebody's got a hold of your hand, but I never know when I'm holding on to a piece of line or something and need to get free and cut it, or what if a hook runs in your hand and you ain't got but one hand free, or you get a hold to something got a critter too. I mean, there's 1,000 different things that could happen, but you need one hand. And it's hard to get in this pocket over here with this hand, or in this pocket with this hand. So, Mike Culpepper, I think fleshing any hide with a pressure washer is a good idea. Number one, though, you got to have the pressure washer set up to do it. In other words, if I've got to go drag it out and hook everything up and clean the carburetor out, and you see what I'm saying, then it ain't so practical. But now if it's sitting there ready to turn on and use, yeah, and you got a concrete surface, you get out there in the mud and go to trying to do that in the dirt and the grass, you'll have a mess though you know what's going on. But yeah, I've heard a lot of people say it works really good. And I probably will try it at some point. But fleshing the flesh side is not a problem. I tanned 2 deer hides. Well, I tanned one, and I've got another half tanned. And I have ripped all kind of holes in them because it's so hot here in the bucking process to remove the hair. I mean, just scrape it. In fact, I ripped a big hole in one, twisting it to wring it out. The biggest hole come in, and I have never ripped a hole in one wringing it out. So let me go do something with my coffee over here. I couldn't stand it. I got a little of my coffee, but it still ain't near about black as I want it. I like to be able to taste it. Probably ain't gonna taste no whole lot of that red spot on my shirt is kind of bothering me. Half tan, in other words, half tan is I started tanning it and run out of time and rolled it up in a bag and stuck it in the freezer. So it's half tanned. Tony Peacock just got my knife today. I'm gonna have to work on the words. Luana Alford is watching from Alabama. Randy Beeson, it will take the grain off of buckskin. That may be something that I'm interested in trying to do. I'll tell you what, I got a half a mind if I use a pressure washer. I got a half a mind to put it in the bucking and rub the. You can just about take your hand and rub the hair out of it when it's done right. But frame that joker, rack it up in the frame, and then take a pressure washer to it while it's up in the frame and go down. You can flip it around and do both sides and take everything off and not be worried about cutting not one hole in it. But I think right now it's too hot to be fooling with it. I think that's what happened to mine, reason the holes come in so easy. I think in a day's time that rotting process, the bucking process went too far. But I do want to perfect. I can tan a hide, but I am not happy with the quality I produce. I think I can get a whole lot better, and I think a lot of it has to do with the tools you got to work with. Having the right setup to flesh it where you can flesh it good, and uh, and having the right stuff to break it over. I have not used any mullein root for anything. I use mullein leaf for lung issues. However, it has more medicinal properties, but it is most known for its lung breaking up mucus and junk like that, healing your lungs. So I don't know. I've got a big old mullein plant hanging up in my shed, but I haven't done anything with it. It's just in there drying. But I don't really, it's hard for me to answer questions about plants right off the top of my head. I just about have to go get a book and dig through it and find out what is what through a book. And that way I ain't guessing, because I'm going to be honest with y'all, it's real easy to cross up and get this plant and that plant crossed up in your mind and not realize which one is what. Well, Tommy, bucking a hide is the process of speeding up the bacterial breakdown. In other words, you're speeding up the rotting process of it to make that hair turn loose and come out really easy. So bucking it is you can use lye, you can use lime, and hardwood ashes is lye. You're just turning hardwood ashes into lye, and it takes a little longer to do it, and that's what I normally use. And there's several different methods of it. I was reading here recently about the Native Americans. They took their hardwood ashes and put just enough water with it to make a container, because they didn't have Tupperware tubs and 5-gallon buckets to put their stuff in. You see what I'm saying? They would put them ashes on that hair, on the skin side, I think, and they would make a paste and they would rub it into that hide real good, and then they would fold it up and put it in the ground and cover it with earth, and then they would dig it up in a day or two and pull it out and then flesh the hair off. So where we put the ashes in a big old container of water and put it down in there and let it soak in that water, they would just rub a paste into the hide itself and didn't have to use all these containers, you know. So I don't know. I'm gonna experiment with some of that in the coming this fall. I spent yesterday, y'all, working my tail off rearranging a bunch of stuff in my shop. If y'all remember that big old chicken brooder box that's been down there where I skin stuff and I have brooded chickens in it, it is no more. I took it all apart. The termites was eating it up. I hadn't brooded chickens in it in 2 years, and I'm slowly just quitting raising so many chickens. I've got to where what the hens raise out there on the ground is the best way. And I took it apart. I needed the room, and I put a table out there, so I'm set up for my lure making, my fur tanning, buckskin making, skinning hides, all that stuff, trapping season. I hope now that I've got a deer camp, I'm gonna meet with a guy at the deer camp tomorrow, pay part of my dues, talk to him. And maybe there's some stuff where we can do some like coyote trapping and stuff over there. I hadn't trapped here because I ain't really needed to trap anything here in the last year or so. We trapped a few fox, but we downed to only a few foxes, so they hadn't been a problem with my chickens, so I didn't trap them. Like I said, I'm not out just killing stuff to be killing it. But where you turkey hunting, deer hunting, and all that, if you got a lot of coyotes, them need thinning out. So. And I don't trap coyotes back here during the fall and winter because there's other people that lease this to deer hunt, and they don't want you on it while they're deer hunting. So you can't run your traps, and I hadn't fooled with them, and they don't come up on my property a whole lot. So I worked on that, but to do that, I had to move a bunch of stuff out of the side of the shed where I build the knives. I had a big old barrel full of rakes, hoes, shovels, all that stuff. I took all that. I've got an absolute clean wall, or clean section of wall, that I'm going to wind up putting some stuff on stand knife. I'm going to wind up with a bandsaw and a belt grinder, a bigger belt grinder, and I don't really know, probably a drill press to pin, just to speed up my knife making process, because I need to get where I can make more than one knife a day. I made one knife today. So what I am doing right now, speaking on knives, as people email me and say, hey, when you start making knives, I want one. As I make a knife, I'll contact somebody out of the email list and go, hey, do you want this knife? So if you want a knife like Jonah, email me. Email is the best way I can keep up with it. That or my Facebook Messenger, somewhat I can keep up with stuff like that. But I want to be straight honest with y'all. There's enough messages and emails that comes through my account that it's easy for the emails to get lost. In other words, you email me, hey, I want a knife, and then when I make one, I can't go back through and find who wrote what. And so You know, if you want one and you ain't heard from me in a while, you need to email me. Because, y'all, I'm just human. It's hard for me to keep up stuff. But I am making that. Right now, I can't make pottery because of my elbow. I'm trying to hold off on the pottery and let this elbow heal. It is sore already here. I don't know what I've done with it. It feels like fire up through it. It's like tennis elbow or tendonitis. I don't know what it is. I'm not a doctor. So I'm trying to let this heal. So I'm making knives basically right now for a living. So if you want a knife, you need to email me, and I'll try to get you a knife made. It may take me a little while. Last time I mentioned on YouTube that I would take knife orders, I had 20 or 30 people message me wanting knives. It takes a while to make them. I have made about 6 or 8 this week. So catawba worms, yes, we have catawba worms. In fact, I drove by some trees the other day and seen leaves with holes in them and stopped. And I knocked out 4 or 5 and brought them here, and I wound up throwing them in the bushes out here where they could survive because the birds is getting them off of that tree down there. I've got a catawba worm tree I planted out here, but it's just about yay high right now. But I have seen catawba worms this year. Problem is, birds eat them up pretty quick. John McGraw, that homemade charcoal's money for grilling. I have been using it. We have grilled on it. In fact, you can shut that grill off, kill the fire, and light that same charcoal up and cook again on it if you ain't cooking. Like if you're cooking hamburgers and they cook 15 minutes or so, you can smother the fire out and relight that charcoal. So it is working good. I'm using wood today, burning it, smoking, so... And it's smoking up under here pretty good with that smoker. That was really more the purpose for the fan, was to push the smoke out than anything. But it didn't help the flies none. Right now, Mike, the patch knife is $100 and Jonah is $150. Both of that includes the sheath and it includes shipping. Dave Canterbury is selling his knives. I seen the other day he had posted some, and they like $160, and you don't even get a sheath, and it don't include shipping. So that sounds high for what I'm selling them at, but then again, it really ain't either, because you do get a sheath. If you buy his knife at $160, you got to add, I think he said $30-something for a regular sheath. So... Eric, I'm ready to get the muzzleloader shooting on. Now, I'm excited that I have got a muzzleloader that is at least hitting paper at 50 yards. I was shooting 40 yards last year. When I built this stand, I moved it further on back where I'm shooting about 50 yards. And it may be a little over 50, actually. I'm going to take a rangefinder down there and see. And we fixing to start trying to do one black powder video a week, probably, working up loads and playing with it till I want to get it down to where I'm comfortable shooting it at 100 yards. I'm probably not going to try to do a lot of shooting past 100 yards because open sights, my eyes ain't what they used to be. And if we get it to where we can shoot good at 100, we may see what we can do a little better, but I can't see like I used to. Independent thinker, that spraying they do, I realize their purpose. They trying to prevent storms blowing trees on the power lines, and but go through and bush hog it once a year over in the fall. Let it grow all summer. Let it grow up, and then take a tractor and go through in the fall before it dies and bush hog it and you won't have a problem. You ain't got to bush hog once. I'd rather see the road beds grow up than I had to see them poisoned. Because when you kill all the grass and weeds and plants and everything else, one thing in my heart, I love the plants. The next thing is the ditch banks start eroding. The road bed starts eroding away. Top Strike, I'll get with you. We'll work something out. If you're just wanting a blade blank, I've got to make a few blade blanks. In fact, I have been working on 3 blade blanks for Mr. Mike Sabella. He's wanting some patch knife, and actually he had asked for them a while back and just said whenever you get time. Well, I started working on them, and I got all these other knives I started doing, and I worked on his today actually. Mississippi have a squirrel season. You asking, does it have a spring squirrel season? I mean, we most definitely have a squirrel season. I squirrel hunt every fall. Opens in October. Yeah, opens in the middle of October. Well, actually, I think it has started opening around the 1st of October. JL, it took me a full day today to make a knife start to finish from scratch. I didn't have nothing. I made the sheath, I made the knife, put the handles on it, dyed it, the whole 9 yards. I got one knife done today. Now, I did go put out some traps. I did go cut some wood. I did put meat on the smoker. I did something else I did this morning. I finished rearranging some stuff around the shop before I started. So, really 3/4 of a day, I made a knife start to finish. I think if I added a few tools that would speed up some of my processes, I could get 2 in a day. And if I start sewing all my sheaths with this leather sewing machine, I could probably speed it up. But the regular sheath, I like the way I'm sewing it. The pancake sheath I sewed, the last one I made with this machine, I don't know if I'm happy with it or not. It made it a lot easier to do. I'm concerned about the quality of it. The problem with the pancake sheath, which is that ambidextric, you can turn it, it slides in there, and y'all have seen it before. The stitching has to be straight on both sides. Well, the way I've been doing it by hand, the back side just does not look as good as the front side. If I do it with this machine, it looks as good on one side as it does the other. So that was my reason for it. But Kerry Goldsmith, the Jonah is the knife that I tote on a regular basis. Now, it is not this knife. This that I've got today is my big Bowie knife. I have yet to even sell one. I have made a couple that I rifled off. I've made a couple that I gave to people, but I have not attempted to. And I may get to where I am forging and selling a knife like this eventually, but I'll just have to be honest with y'all. They're going to be high because of the amount of forging work that goes into it. And the material is very limited, that spring steel. So all of that, I haven't got into that yet. These saw blade knives is like the other one you see me toting most of the time. It is a little 5-inch blade. It's like 8 inches, it's like 9 inches overall. I think it's a 5-inch blade with about a 4 or 4.5-inch handle. And yeah, it's $150 with a sheath shipped. And the best thing to do is to email me at justinpeden@gmail.com or get on the Spirit of the Outdoors Facebook page and message me there. if you message me on my Justin Peden Facebook account, it's gonna be weeks before I see it because I check it very rarely. I just don't have time to check everything, and some things just slip because y'all. I spend a lot of time going through comments and replying to emails and stuff, and talking to people on the phone. And I do a lot. Like, I lay this thing down, put it on silent, and walk off. When people call and I don't answer, it is not because I looked at it and ignored your call. It is because I turn that thing on silent, lay it down. I never know it wrong till I've got time to sit down and go, okay, I need to check and see who's called today. I need to. Now, if I'm expecting to have to go meet somebody and I'm expecting a call, I'll do that. But here's the thing. If I answer every phone call throughout the day, I would never get nothing done. And if I met everybody that wanted to meet, I just, I do stuff. I'm busy all day. From the time my feet hit the floor, I go sit on my porch and drink coffee for about 30 minutes to an hour every morning. And then I go down to that shop and I'm either making pottery, making knives, working on something, or going fishing. I'm not just sitting here doing nothing all day. I have to stay busy. My mind does not relax. My mind, if I'm sitting here, I'm thinking of what all I need to be doing. So I've got garden going on, knives, So that is that. So if you're messaging me on like Facebook Messenger on my personal account, it's likely to be weeks before I see it, Not on purpose. That's just how it works. You have to pick and choose, what you can handle. And usually my main priority is YouTube and the comments on it, and then the Spirit of the Outdoors Facebook. And then I do check messages and stuff on Instagram, but I really hadn't went through Instagram checking. I don't check the messages and stuff on it a lot. So it can get chaotic, y'all. I'll tell you. It really does. So Carrie, or just email me or message me on the Spirit of the Outdoors page, and we'll get up with you about a knife. It may take me now. Just know it's liable to be 2-3 weeks before I get one made. Maybe longer than that, depending on how many orders pile in and what order it falls into. But Johnny, the crappie have shut down due to the heat. But the catfish and the grinnell have not been biting. Y'all, grinnell usually bite in the heat. The last 2 or 3 times you've seen us fishing, I have worked hard to catch a grinnell, and it's usually not been that way. And I don't know if it's the locations are overfished or if the heat's done something or the weather. I don't know what's going on. But I have not caught grinnell. But now I did catch 3 good catfish the other day. I was really, really pleased with them. JL, I will say this. I had 4 knives that one guy ordered 4 knives. And I made all the blades and then started working on handles and handled them all. And then I wound up completely finishing 2 of them and then finishing the handles and the sheaths on the other. And everything worked a lot smoother. And then a few days, I think I had 4 days in 6 knives. Actually 5 knives. I had 4 days in 5 knives is what it was. So I shaved off a little bit. And I fished half of one of those days. One of those days was the day I fished till dinner. I come home, worked on knives, and another day I did something else part of a day. So really 3 days. I had 5 knives in 3 days, really, if I'd have worked full days. What is the best bait for catfish? Oh, Lord. Here, crawfish, but now, it depends on where you're fishing. Any fish, you need to find out what they naturally eating in that body of water. Because this guy here may be catching them better with catfish, where this guy over here is catching them better with worms or with whatever else is naturally with shiners. When we go to the big rivers, we fish a lot of sun perch and shad. The shad works good at Tom Bigby for them big blue cats, but cut bait, worms, catawba worms. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. A lot of people's making punch baits. I've caught them on deer liver, chicken liver. They catch them on absolute chicken. There's a lot of meat stuff you can use. Think of a catfish as an underwater buzzard. He's eating whatever's dead floating around. So, I have not actually tried shrimp, but I have heard of people using shrimp. And even up here where we're at, they've used shrimp. So I'm finna go fill my coffee cup up with some black coffee. Because that right there is just hot water. I set that thing. I'll tell you what I need to do. I need to flip them ribs over, don't I? Let me turn y'all around where y'all can watch. See what I got to work with over here. Oh. Move it on over here on the fire, on the fire. Please let me sing in the choir, in the choir. Please let me sing in the choir. Oh. The box over here about done got filled up with stuff. I've added to it. Alright. Now let's get back on our perch. I'm gonna have to move all these fish baits. So anyway, I did get all my fish baits today. I'm proud of them. I mean, he sent me a pile of fish baits, y'all. Matt, thank you so much. I'm gonna get a lot of good use out of them. But I gotta clean my stump off over here. And I'll tell you something else, Matt, I didn't mention. Don Lanier has invited me to go trout fishing this winter with him up in Kentucky on the Cumberland River. And he said, you need them baits for that. He said, they'll work good up there on that Cumberland River. So I may take them trout fishing up here on the Cumberland River when I go. If I get to go, depends on how everything lines out, what all's going on this winter, and how much money I got in my pocket to go these places. Because I got several trips I want to go do. Randall Wilson, thank you. Little salt on chicken liver would toughen it up and stay on the hook better. Never heard of that. We always put the chicken liver in a pair of Grandma's pantyhose. You know, you take them pantyhose and you can drop that chicken liver down in the bottom and the toe of them and tie you a knot in it and cut it off, and you tie you another knot and drop it next and down in there and tie you a knot, and you could hook through them pantyhose, and that's how we, figured it. And some of them use galls, but now when I tried the galls, I never caught much with it, so. Tommy said Carrie must have that smell-o-vision. I tell you what, it's smelling right under him. Y'all, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. What I miss most about winter, other than it not being 100 degrees and me sweating 2 or 3 shirts down every day, is I miss smelling that wood burn. I mean, the highlight of my day is to get out there. These times over in the fall that I'll build a fire out in the yard while I'm making pottery, just so I can crack a door open and just smell that oak wood out there smoldering in the fire. I like it. How come they ain't got scented candles that smells like oak wood burning or hickory wood burning, or And a lot of times I can just about tell you what kind of wood's on that fire by the way it smells when I walk up there. Are y'all that good? If you've been around campfires long enough, you ought to be able to do that. I mean, you can smell cedar. When somebody throws cedar on there, it's like, y'all burning cedar, I love the smell of wood smoke. So that is what I really enjoy about smoking stuff on that wood smoker. I like grilling with wood. Now it does, a lot of woods put a strong flavor on your meat. So I don't want to do and I tell you what, that little pipe I got on that smoker enhances that flavor. So that's why I want a bigger pipe so that the wood smoke ain't overpowering the flavor. You talking about my coffee stump right here? Works good. I had to spray the termites under it this week. I tilted it over, and I noticed that other over yonder, I forgot to do it. I got to do it. I need to go around this whole place. Termites, they eating like crazy right now. Dry in the ground. Once it starts getting dry, they come up in there and go to eating stuff. Tom, if I knew how to capture that wood smoke smell, I'd make my fortune right there off scented candles. I'd cut a deal with Circle E candles. I was just saying, because city slickers and pot smokers make all the candles. That's why. About the truth. About the truth. Willow wood. I hadn't burned a lot of willow. I have burned a little bit, but we don't have a lot of willow here. Not that we could have. I mean, it's around in the area, but it's in these swampy areas, and we don't ever cut it and burn it. For now, it very seldom gets big enough to burn. So I've burned a good bit of cedar, cleaning up limbs and junk like that, burning scrap boards. Probably more from burning scrap boards of cedar than anything. After I have, done a project and the little pieces, odd ends, you throw them in the fire and smell up. Burned a lot of hickory, and I'm not a huge fan of smoking, cooking stuff over hickory wood. It works. I'll do it. I don't have a problem with it. But anyway, something making a funny racket over there. I don't know what it is. One of these, I don't know if it's that coffee pot. I don't know what it is. I hear fireworks. Fireworks or a 22 rifle one going off back over here. Roscoe heard it too. He got up and went and looked. What'd you hear, Roscoe? Huh? What'd you hear? Uncle Sasquatch, that folks been asking about you. You ain't been in no heap of videos lately. I tell y'all, I've been leaving him under the air conditioner some. It is so blooming hot out. Today, later this evening after the rain and the storms hit, it's been quite nice. Exodus for termites here, I spray 38 plus, and it is basically a high concentrate of permethrin is what it is. You look at several different bug sprays, the active ingredient in it is permethrin, and 38 plus. Comes in a little brown bottle. You mix it up in the sprayer. We get it at the local farm supply at the Neshoba County Co-op, and that's what I use, and it kills anything that walks and crawls. But now, as far as it soaking in the ground and being a long-term preventative, I don't know. Frank said his sister could burn water in her pot. She may be watching and reading your comments, Frank. I done called you out on it. I know y'all, the folks at home watching on TV, everybody with an iPad or their phones reading all the comments, knowing. But the folks who got me up on the big screen ain't got no idea what these comments are. So when I'm sitting here reading, so that's why I read some of them along. It's pretty good today. And y'all, ain't no way I can see every comment and know what's going on with all of them. Tommy, I ain't seen Hickok 45 in his pot smoking. You'll have to explain that one. I watched some of his stuff, but I ain't watched him in a long time. Cindy said her aunt moved here from out west in the 80s and taught her how to tie chicken liver up in pantyhose. I think pantyhose is the most practical way to do it. The problem is a lot of folks ain't got a woman to go buy them pantyhose. And you know, you walk up in Walmart's and buy you a pair of pantyhose as a man, and which now people don't bat an eye at it. They just, you know, about normal now. But used to folks would have looked at you funny, you know. Oh, Tommy said Hickok shoots them clay flower pots, vaporizes them. Well, my board down there that I'm shooting at, y'all notice I put that flat board up on the top of it. When we got our pumpkins planted, if the crows don't pluck them up, crows been going down there and pulling them up, beating that seed off the bottom, makes me so mad. But anyway, if we grow very many pumpkins this year and have a good year, we're gonna shoot some of them. We'll have a pumpkin shooting. Teresa Wright, I don't know if they still sell pantyhose or not. I know at church, some of them women will be wearing them because they take their shoes off and get to shouting over there, and them things will get a hole in them and they'll roll all the way up to their knees nearly. That's when the Spirit's really moving in the church now. Use self-checkout. Yeah, we use, I don't, a lot of people get mad at the self-checkout. I just about, though, we got a couple old hands in there that they check you out at Walmart and they'll grab something and they'll take it and they'll just move it across and they'll lay it over here. They'll get the next item and they'll move it across and they'll set it over here. And they moving it just that fast, and I'm sitting here going, man, I got a lot to do today. But I patiently wait. I don't ever say nothing because it ain't don't help nothing. Oh, Rural Prepper, you can see the comments on the big screen. See, I didn't know that. I've had a lot of people tell me that they couldn't see the comments on big screen. I know it's not feasible to type a comment, but I didn't know if y'all could see them or not. I guess maybe you got to turn it on, whatever. I don't know. We watched Celebrating Appalachia the other day, done a live. Them or the Presley Girls won. Michelle had it on in there. And, but we didn't have no comments coming up, but I wasn't attempting to comment on that. And I don't do a lot of commenting. Every now and then I'll leave a comment somewhere just so that somebody knows I'm watching their channel occasionally. But now I'll be honest with you, I've got to a place that I watch stuff and I don't have time to sit there and go. I really don't. Jeffrey Gray said they pop up on the bottom corner of his TV. So those of you that are watching on the big screen at house in your recliner with your bowl of ice cream and your sweet tea with your feet propped up, and you ain't seeing no comments, you need to get in there and get in the setting some way and get them turned on, because it is possible. We done found out. No more excuses. Maybe it's the fact that they can't read them at that distance. Might need a bigger TV. I don't know. I seen one at Walmart the other day. We walked by there with 80-something inches. I said, my good Lord, what a TV. I ain't even got a wall big enough. It's got a clean enough spot on it to put one that big. Teresa said they say to use pantyhose to cover your cauliflower and broccoli to keep the butterflies off that lay the big worms. Y'all, when them monarch butterflies, I tell you what, they hit number one. My wife last year, she planted her a flower pot on the porch out there. Well, we got a wash pot. It was her aunts or somebody, her uncles that's passed away. She's got the wash pot, and it's got a big old crack in it, so it ain't good for nothing but a flower pot, but it's, sentimental, so we had a bunch of parsley planted in it. Oh, she is going to pick that parsley and do something with it. I walked out there one day, and it was covered with them black and yellow striped caterpillars that turns into the monarch butterfly, and I'm talking about in a few hours, they cleaned it down. They wasn't nothing but stems. It looked like grass, a little hair sticking up out of it. They wouldn't know saving parsley. The where I said, you might as well just leave them there and let them have it now. She said, I was going to go back. Somebody asked earlier, how was Michelle doing? And I was going to touch on that, and I forgot about it. Michelle has been doing good for the most part. A little bit of blood pressure up and down. I think most of it is stress, but she's getting better. She don't have no serious medical issues, so everything's gonna be all right. Me and her both agree and think it's more of a spiritual battle that is going on more than it is a physical battle. It just manifests into flesh issues. So she's doing good. She's gonna be fine. Put Sevin Dust on plants. They used to do, I've got Sevin Dust here, but my deal with Sevin Dust is I use stuff like that as it's necessary. I've got liquid Sevin that I spray, and it's set down in the garden. I had worms started eating in my squash. I'd done promised a couple of people they could have squash, and I got there, we started picking them, and they had worms in them. So I had to throw like a bunch of squash to the chickens and sprayed them, and then I had to throw the ones I sprayed. If I spray poison on a fruit, I'm not giving it to somebody. Really not going to eat it myself. But I had to kill all these worms that was getting there, and I don't know what. So I'm just now getting back to getting squash again. We've been a week that we ain't had no squash, but it's because worms started getting them, and then the heat puts a damper on them. But y'all, I've not lost any of the squash bugs. But I put the granulated ant poison out for the squash bugs, the vine borers. But anyway, I had to spray liquid Sevin on them. Is what I sprayed the other day to get rid of all those worms. But they was just making a little hole in the squash, and then when you brought it up here and set it on the table, in a little bit you'd see it looked like it was pushing out, I don't know, like it was secreting something. It was a worm in there pushing the fruit where he had done eat out, I reckon. I don't know how all that works. But cinnamon dust, it was chase any bug away. So y'all try cinnamon. Johnny, the guineas work good, but I can't stand to hear a bunch of squawking guineas. Y'all, hey, y'all think it's bad them chickens get to crowing when I'm filming? I had some guineas one time. You turn a camera on with them guineas out there running around, get excited, and start trying to run a frog out of the yard, and my land, them things will go to screaming and hollering and squawking, and you can't hear yourself think. And about the fourth or fifth time I was standing out there so mad I was shaking, ready, threatening to wring their necks. I said, I got to get rid of them, so I gave them to my preacher. I've been killing some cutworms off my tomatoes. We've had a few cutworms getting in there. They'll eat a tomato and then the whole tomato just rot and be gone. Mom and them has had some hornworms. I ain't had a big problem with hornworms, but now I got enough birds swarming around that keeps a lot of that stuff picked off. Mint plants in the garden work good, and somebody said, oh, don't put mint in your garden, it'll take over. Some of that mint will. What I put is the hoary mountain mint, and then in the fall when I bush hog and kill everything and till it up, it's usually gone. But now some of that other tenderer mint that seeds, it will take slam over. I don't put a bunch of it in there. But now I've not had none. I did it twice. I didn't put none this year. Marigolds is another thing. Usually I'll plant some marigolds in my garden, and that helps with the aphids and stuff around your tomatoes. But the mint plant works good in your garden. I didn't put any this year. I've got zinnias down there to attract butterflies and stuff, really. Chester Richardson said his best friend had guineas for about a week. Do I turkey hunt? I have not turkey hunted in several years because I really don't have a good place to turkey hunt. I'm hoping that this deer camp I have just joined affords me a lot of new opportunities. Am I going to get big into turkey hunting? Probably not. I think there's a lot of guys in there that already turkey hunt, and I'm not going to go race people to try to beat them to a turkey. I don't eat a lot of turkey. Fried turkey nuggets are good, but like Thanksgiving, we cook a turkey. I'm not crazy about that kind of turkey, so turkey nuggets are good. You cut the breast out and fry turkey nuggets, they're very good. But I'm not a big turkey hunter. If there's plenty place to hunt and there's plenty turkeys, I may turkey hunt, but I'm not going to go race those guys that's been in that deer camp for a lot of years and that's where they turkey hunt and try to beat them to turkeys. I'm not that good at it. But we'll see. We'll just have to see how things play out and how it goes. John Thomas, I got a lot of blue jays. They probably taking care of my tomato worms too. John Thomas said the blue jays took care of his tomato worms. And I tell you what else they'll take care of. They'll take care of your apples if you ain't careful too. And your figs and your elderberries. But now, I tell you what, if you can manage to find a Taylor Swift CD, you can hang it up out there in your fruit trees and it'll keep your birds run off. I have finally found a good use for one of her CDs. Now everything ain't on CDs no more, so you may not can even buy a CD no more. I pay for iTunes $12 and something a month so I can listen to Hawking Horse and whatever else. Have y'all listened to Hawking Horse much? I talked back and forth with him a little bit this week. I seen he had bought some buckskins, and he told me about who sold him his buckskins, and he said they probably one of the best that does it. And they're about $150 to $200 a hide for finished out buckskins. The reason I am trying to find somewhere that I can buy buckskins so that I can make buckskin clothing. I can't tan enough to make all the stuff I want. It's taken me forever to get enough quality. My jacket, I made that one shirt, but now I've got this machine, I could make some buckskins. And if I could find a place I could affordably buy decent buckskin to where I could make shirts and then turn around and sell them, I would add that to my buying and making and selling knives. I am going to start making some fur hats and stuff out of my hides that I've tanned, or making some odd and end stuff and possibly selling it, because I have this machine over here and it'll sew up about all of that kind of stuff really good. Lady Hammer, I seen you comment the other day about not tightening the jar lids. It makes sense to me. But I will tell you this, the ones that I've been canning for years and years like that ain't spoiled, ain't made us sick yet, so they still canning. As long as that lid pops down, they pretty well can. But I do see what you're saying. It will allow the air to escape out. It'll make it easier for it to seal. But I don't think that it absolutely will spoil and go rotten because you didn't do it. It'll just be that some of them won't seal. If that lid pops down, it's sealed. Eric and Barbara Fleming, how are you tonight? Heather said, I know we're talking about other stuff, but I had an interview Monday and I'm waiting on a call back asking for prayers that I get the position. So y'all say a prayer for Heather that she gets a call back on a job and gets a position she's looking for from an interview. That'd be really, really good. John said aluminum pot pie plates work. Hang them up, by one edge so that they can spin around, and that shiny movement of anything like that, y'all. I tell you something else works good. You know them 4th of July whirly things that the kids had that the wind blows and they spin? Stick them around out there and they help too. Especially if you can stick it in a way that it turns, and catches the wind. Put your wind vane on it. Teresa Wright said, where was a guy like you back in the early 80s? I wanted to make everything. Since I was a kid, I have made stuff. Somebody mentioned something the other day in a comment about nunchucks. Y'all, I have made so many pair of nunchucks, I couldn't tell you how many knots they put on the back of my head playing with them things. And sore places, a few other places I ain't gonna mention, from trying to learn how to be Chuck Norris and Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee. But I've made all kind of stuff. Made slingshots, and the sticks I taped up. I watched them Ninja Turtles, and old Donatello had one of them sticks with a little bit of tape in the middle of it. And man, yeah, I had to have that. So I don't know how many sticks I taped up. Then I got to watching, Robin Hood, and I never was good at making bows. We did make a few, but they didn't never work good. We threw them down pretty quick. But I seen old Little John had one of them big old sticks, and he didn't have to tape his. Then we had a bunch of sticks we cut. But I've made stuff, I don't know, for years. Every time I have ever thought of something I wanted, I've tried to make it. So, when I need something, my first thought is, can I make that? How? And there's a great satisfaction out of being able to know, I made this. It's just fulfilling. Jeff, good to see you, buddy. We're keeping you in our prayers as well. Things looking up or about the same? So, yeah, Heather, we will definitely say a prayer for you. I see several people commenting, praying for Heather. Anytime anybody is willing to work, I pray that the Lord will give them a good job, an easy job, and let them make plenty of money. Somebody that don't mind working, I don't mind seeing them have nice new vehicles and all that kind of stuff. New vehicles don't do it for me. I'm not itching for a new vehicle. Now, I did mention last week I'm thinking about getting me a new boat. I think I'd get a lot more use out of a boat than I would a new truck. I like my truck. You know, it's an '06 model. I'm hoping it runs long enough I can put an antique tag on it. About the same. Well, Jeff, we're going to keep praying for you. Y'all keep Jeff in your prayers. Oh. She said improvise even while cooking. Yeah, cooking a recipe to me is more of an idea than it is like root and stone absolutes, because basically cooking is you want to heat up meat hot enough to kill the bacteria on it. That idea of it's got to be cooked a certain way to be something. There's a lot of people that will get sideways. If you make their favorite dish and you don't make it like they make it, oh, they'll come sideways on you. Harold Neely, thank you. He said you and I are what some would call Renaissance men. Yep. My deal is I like to do things with and I say, the spirit of the outdoors is basically God's spirit connecting me to the world around me. So I try to live as the Native Americans did in harmony with that. I don't do living history. In other words, when you see me in buckskins and you see me with a muzzle loader and I'm not trying to do living history and be accurate. I had somebody scolded me about that beaver bag that I keep some of my stuff in. And y'all, I'm going to make me a new buckskin bag just because I want to make me another bag is the reason. It ain't that I need another bag. But to put my black powder stuff in, I want to make me a new bag. And I'm going to sew it with that machine and see how it does with it. And, But that beaver bag, man, somebody got on my comments, it's been a year or so ago, said that is not period correct. They would have never cut up a beaver hide to have made a bag, yada, 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 yada. I'm like, hey, beaver hide's still worth what Bill Tyler got for it. $3. $3, Bill Tyler. I go, no higher. That's all Fontenelle would give him for it. So with a $3 beaver hide, I got a $3 bag. That ain't really expensive because a beaver today is still worth about $3, Bill Tyler. Anyway, they got all sideways about me doing that, said that wasn't period correct, that never made. I told them, I said, well, if a mountain man back in, all he had was a beaver to make him a bag out of, and he needed a bag, I feel pretty sure he'd have made a bag before he sold that beaver. Now, that wasn't his priorities, but he'd have done what he had to do. I had a beaver hide, I needed a bag, I made the bag out of the beaver hide. See how that works? So I don't do living history. What I do is I like the spirit of the mountain men, the spirit of the Native Americans, the way they lived back then. Not trying to be period correct in every little detail that they would have done exactly how they... What I try to capture is the idea that they took what was around them to provide what they needed. And I use a lot of modern stuff. I use a lot of modern tools. But I still try to do things as frugal and as cheaply as I can, for the most part, and make everything I can out of whatever I find readily available. I like to make it off of natural things from my area if I can. Stuff that I would be able to find. And then also in the sense of, if we did go to, say there's no power, no commerce, no economy, we just all out here back to martial law, living free, trying to make do. What kind of stuff am I going to find laying around to make something out of to make do with, They're not going to take away all the plastics and all the scrap metal. It's still going to be laying around. So, me making arrowheads out of pieces of these saw blades that I've cut and scraps from making knives is really the most practical thing I can do for me right now. And that's when I start making arrows, that is what I'm going to use instead of just diving off into flint knapping. Is flint knapping a good skill? Absolutely. If you've got a lot of rock around you, you need to learn that skill if you're interested in any primitive stuff. But, you know, it's not that, hey, I'm trying to do stuff, period, correct, back to a certain time period, but just the idea and the attitude that those people back then had, and they used whatever. So, you know, being able to tan buckskin and making leather bags and stuff is a lot more practical than going to Walmart and buying every bag you need. So some of those old skills are still very relevant today, you know, for the average person going out doing whatever. My biggest advantage with black powder is that there's the possibility I can make black powder. And with a flintlock, you can make a flint and shoot that black powder. Now with these cap locks, it could get to where you can't buy caps, and then that does away with them. So it's about being able to hunt when there is nothing else, and that mentality. Is that really going to possibly happen? I kind of doubt it, but it's always a possibility. Harold Neely, I've not heard about cooking fish that way. So for those of you that ain't reading comments, Harold Neely said, my dad was a full-blooded Cherokee, and I have so many things he passed down to me. He would catch brim or crappie and pack them in mud and lay the mud in the fire and cook it and then bust it open and eat it right out of the mud pack. So I have heard of people baking birds like this. Now, I have not heard of fish. Principles should be the same, so it makes sense to me. But I have heard of clay baking, where they took a bird, chicken, whatever, grouse, dove, whatever they had, and pack it with mud, a thick layer of good clay, not just wet dirt, but they had fine clay usually. And just lay that in the fire ashes, and it would cook from the inside out. So, Michigan Prepper, you finally here. We've been talking about you like we did Tommy. Tommy got here on time tonight. Yeah, David Rush had never seen the day Buffalo would bring $20. He said that's a $5 blue if I ever seen one. James Glenn, I don't know that I've seen Jimmy McLean's record shifter. You'll have to message me and describe that. Algernon, what did she say? Mama used to cook by guess, and by golly, what she said. So she guessed at what she cooked. Yeah, Rodney Dunaway, it fit in 2024, most definitely. Y'all, I tell you, this is a very controversial thing right here. I have seen this question pop up in some of the mountain men groups. Let me get me some coffee and I'll tell you about it. Roscoe's over here waiting on that. Find my glove. I got my coffee pot over there on that, keeping it warm over the fire. There's good piping hot coffee. Black is soot. Next thing is we need to. Ooh! Let's see right here. Let me just bring you. I know y'all gonna want to watch all this while I hadn't forgot what I was gonna tell y'all yet. I'll get back to that in a second. You'll have to remind me when I get over there. So anyway, let's see if these is fit to eat. Anytime that you can eat directly off the grill, by all means do it. Never pass up an opportunity to sit here and not use a plate. One, and Michelle and Brody they went to see her mama somewhere. I don't know where they went to. I'm having a hard time of holding this and cutting down in there without burying my blade, rubbing it up and down on that. This knife here just about cut through them bones. I was scared I'd cut my grate into with it's what I was worried about. Not really. It's just about that sharp. But anyway. Probably needs to cook a little bit more. This deer, parts of it are a little tougher than like pork, so. But I've cooked it slow enough, it ain't real tough. See, like this part down in between the rib bones, we just snacking. We'll say the blessing in a minute. Probably need to say it before you start smacking. Snacking and smacking, probably. I know y'all think I'm starving that poor dog to death. Miss Mary sent me some treats. Y'all seen that video, that box of stuff that she sent me? Old Roscoe, he was a smacking in there. Well, I've been giving him one of them treats about every morning. And Uncle Sasquatch, he done well been through them that you sent. They worked them over quick. But he done got to where he's used to getting that treat in the morning when I'm drinking coffee out there. He eats better than I do, y'all. I've been on a diet. I don't know if you can tell or not. Yeah, see? Oh, so what I've been doing is eating a light breakfast and then not eating no dinner and then eating supper. I won't never eat all this. Probably tomorrow I'll make pulled pork sandwiches out of it. I just wanted to smoke it. This is crazy, but I enjoy cooking probably about as well as I enjoy eating. By the time I get through eating, I ain't even hungry for some reason. I don't know why. By the time I get that cooked over, I won't even be hungry. Y'all, somebody had to explain that to me. It probably ain't got nothing to do with the snacks that you put on the grill while you're cooking. We fried them catfish the other night. I chopped up some jalapenos and deep fried them jalapenos, and I fried some of them squash blossoms y'all been talking about. I've had a bunch of people talking about squash blossoms. They was all right. I just soon had the squash. I'll tell you what to do though. Make sure, I mean make for sure that you run the bee out for your flour. He gets something other matter why with all that white flour over him. He was in that Ziploc bag. There was 2 or 3 of them in there. They was zooming around and flour was a fluttering off of them. I ain't never seen a bee no matter in all my born days. That ain't never gonna cook with that grill lid open. Alright, so what we're gonna do with this, we're gonna drag it way over here to the back. I'm gonna take this piece with me. Oh, what's that look like on the inside? This is a front shoulder. It's soft. We're gonna let it cook though. I'm gonna leave it wrapped up and I'm gonna let it cook till I get off my live. That's what I'm gonna do. I may let the fire go out. You don't wipe that grease off your knife blade. That'll keep it from rusting. All right, let me put these things. I'm gonna have to clean them up. So I'm gonna just lay them right here for now. Y'all can't see nothing, can you? When I don't turn the camera the right way. But boy, that fan, it ain't helped them flies run off not one bit. I want to point out one more time that fan won't get rid of these flies. I'll talk about that from now on. Let me get y'all back over here. Y'all want to be seasick? Let me loosen this up and drop you back down. Get low again. Oh. Ah. Well, my head's cut off. Got my head cut off. I may need to turn my bug light on back. Alright. Well, I about cut that bone in two. Hey. So what I was going to tell y'all is in the mountain men groups, there's this big controversy. People say, okay, if we was modern day in the mountain men deal and mountain men had modern day, what rifle would they tote now? Right now, what would be their go-to rifle? Hands down. If we was in the same position strategically as in the West was not developed, people was all living across up to Mississippi to St. Louis was the most westward town they was, and we had all the modern things we have now pretty much. A mountain man would most definitely be toting an AR-10 because the AR-15 is not a suitable caliber for shooting elk at 500-600 yards, I don't think. Will it kill them? If you shoot them between the eyes, most definitely. But grizzly bear, he gonna have an AR-10. 308, 30-06, 708, whatever caliber, you can use your imagination. I think most definitely they'd be toting AR because look, I mean, you got a lot of rounds, high-powered rounds. The next best thing is still the lever gun. 45-70 lever gun. You don't have the range, but got a lot of knockdowns. I don't know. A lot of controversy there. They wouldn't still be toting muzzle loaders. I can promise you that. Wouldn't happen. Jimmy, I have not smoked any beaver lately. I do got one in the freezer I need to cook. Need to cook him. Oh, Lord, Teresa. You didn't get all the meat and stuff off of it. You got to flesh all the meat off of any hide. Now, I usually stop the rotting, but I hear folks still celebrating 4th of July. Try it, and I ain't got any blackberries left. I looked today. I was gonna get some. Now she put up some blackberries. I ain't done a lot of canning videos because we've done our canning on the fly. I've got blueberries picked that I'm gonna can. I'll film canning the blueberries. But you do any fruit the same way. I have watched some videos on canning this week, seeing what methods people use to keep from using so much sugar. I want to can my blueberries and stuff so that when I get ready to make a cobbler out here on the fire in a cast iron Dutch oven, that I can use my own canned fruit. But I'll be honest with you, I didn't pick a lot of blackberries this year because for some reason when it got hot and dry, I didn't have a way to water them way out yonder. And they got a tart, I mean a real tart. They was, I don't know, I didn't really like them. So that's why I wasn't crazy about picking them. Now Brody eat him a bait of them, but we picked a bunch of blueberries this week. And there's still a lot of blueberries. We're probably gonna can some apples. I got a lot of apples. With 5 cubs riding it down the way, I ain't never heard of such. I have not seen it though. I got bone in it. Uncle Sasquatch said they used to shoot 1,000 yards with a 45-70. I did see old Quigley down under do it, but I was factoring in there was a lot of Hollywood in that too. Michigan Prepper, my only qualms with the 338 Lapua is it's gonna make it difficult for you to shoot any smaller game without destroying it. Which, I mean, you're gonna be hard pressed to be shooting rabbits with a 30-06, but I guess if you got any sense, you're gonna have a 22 somewhere. I don't know. But they only had one gun other than a handgun. So I don't know. I don't know what the ideal one gun option would be. I don't like a gun too big. Because like I said, if I decide, hey, I want to shoot a squirrel, and that's all I can see to eat that day, you know, I don't want to turn him into soup and have to scrape him up with a spatula. But I feel like a 308 or a 45-70 for that matter, probably just about. The deal with the 45-70 where I see a benefit is you can stump load. If you had a Lee loader, hand loader, you could stump load them as you went along and reload your brass. As long as you had lead and powder, and you could load black powder and possibly make black powder, but now they didn't make a lot of powder back in them days. They bought their powder. Yeah, it was a 45-110, Tommy. But now I'll tell y'all another thing. I have not been out west. I have not been in the Rocky Mountains. So for me to sit here and tell you the ideal gun to walk in that part of the country with, I really couldn't. If I was going to stay right here where I live, I could take a 22 long rifle and kill anything in this part of the woods. I can take a 22 long rifle and go hunting and come back with meat. Guaranteed. So if I was going to stay right here, I'd have a 22 rifle would be my go-to gun. But now when you go out west where you got grizzly bears and you got a elk and a lot of big things change, hard for me to answer all of that. But I would rather be able to kill bigger game to feed myself long term, dry and jerk all the meat, versus having to shoot a squirrel every day. You see what I'm saying? So the trade-offs, you gotta pick one of the two. And I don't know what is more abundant out there would be my decision-making factor, I reckon. Yeah, Harold Neely, anywhere east of the Mississippi, if you can't take a 22 rifle and feed yourself every day, you missing out big time. I mean, you need to reprioritize, I would say. A 22 rifle, now we ain't talking about legally now, obviously. We talking about survival situation. So, I mean, you can take a 22 rifle and eat all day long. You can shoot ducks swimming in the water and shoot gar up close to the bank. I mean, there's a lot of fish and stuff you can shoot with a 22 that, if you didn't have a fishing pole. Especially if you had one of these good headlights. And I got my, oh yeah, I can shine right now and see if I see coon eyes in my trees down there. This is an ODPRO light. I don't know if y'all can see, y'all can't tell. See, it's got a square beam. I got it dialed in. That way I can see a long way. You can open that joker up though to floodplain, But right there, I can shine that joker down there in them trees and it'll light up eyes a long ways off. Oh yeah, I just seen an eye. It closed real quick. I ain't even got a rifle out here with me, but I know what tree I seen him in. I know right what tree I seen him in. Yeah, we're going to have to do some serious coon hunting, I can tell you that. Dog it, I hate to do all that. I think I'm going to leave them alone tonight and see if the traps get them. I may can haul them off tomorrow. I'll carry them way off down in the swamp and see how long. Hey, what we need to do is we need to tag them. We see how long, track them, see how long before they make it back. Tommy Lidgefield, one thing about a 45-70 that I like my Buffalo Classic and my Thompson Center, which is a single shot, is you can hand loading them with black powder, you can load weak loads. I seen the Log Cabin Loons do it. He was shooting them in a lever gun, a Marlin lever gun. But he was loading them light so he could plink with it, and it wasn't, a lot of powder, so. Oh no, Triton, that I saw was way up in the side of a pine tree down there. It wasn't no squatch. Jennifer said hit the like button and make sure you subscribed. I want to mention I have had a couple of people tell me recently that they have looked and they were unsubscribed from this channel. I have seen other channels mentioning, hey, we've got people unsubscribed. So YouTube, I don't know if they do it on purpose. I don't know if it's glitches in their matrix and their system, what the deal is. But you need to check the subscription, Whether you're subscribed or not don't help me, not one bit. you know, how many subscribers I got. It just a number you look at makes feel good. So tonight we broke 30,000 subscribers at some point today. I just looked and seen, hey, we at 30,000. What benefits the channel as far as revenue and ratings is viewer time. The more a video is getting watched and watched all the way through, the more they're gonna show it to new people. So that's kind of how all that works. Yeah, and Larry, I'll tell you something else about comments. There's time that I can see where it says there's a reply to a comment. I can click on that reply and nothing comes up. So y'all, if I don't respond to your comment, sometimes it may be because I ain't seen it. And I'll tell you this, if you leave a comment and I reply to it and then you reply to my reply, I don't never see that either. I have to actually go back and pull up the video and click on all the comments to see replies to my video, to my replies. So that is why, you know, if you're trying to carry on a conversation with me through comments, most likely I don't never see it. And there's so many comments, even on old videos and stuff, you just they don't show you all of them. So don't think, hey, he just ignored my comment or don't reply to me or whatever. I used to respond to every comment. Now, if I put a heart by it, that lets you know I have seen and read your comment. But y'all, there's just no possible way I can go through anymore and answer every question and every comment. I would love to, but if I did, y'all, I would not get nothing done. So I just thought I'd mention that while we was on the subject. Harold Neely, you can tell them old videos, I wasn't much good at filming back in the old days. Been a lot of growth and a lot of lessons learned over the years. Yeah, and y'all, I'll be honest with you. I don't go through and delete comments. I've had people accuse me of going in there and deleting their comments. I don't delete comments. I don't really have no reason to. I mean, if you put a comment on, if I don't like it, I just go on. Don't worry about it. Now, I do delete people. If somebody just wants to be a rear end and just trying to be if you're being a smart aleck to me and being funny, I'll leave it alone and leave it there. You know, even if I'm the butt of the joke, if it's to be funny, I'll let it go. But if you're just trying to obnoxiously be rude, then I just delete them, because what'll happen if I don't block them, it'll just leave. If they really just don't like me and they don't like something I'm doing, they'll create problems in the long run, like Mike Reed had with people flagging his old videos and turning them in for making medicine and all such as that kind of stuff. I'm sure that you can find something in my videos that ain't right, especially with safety equipment, the safety police and all that stuff. I don't do safety here. I don't even attempt to do safety. I try to be careful about what I'm doing, but as far as safety equipment, I don't do safety equipment. So it would be very easy to go in there and say, hey, he ain't safe in these videos, and flag it and turn me in and get a strike on my channel, quite possibly. So when you find people that just don't like you, and most of the time it's because they hear about 3 words and be like, oh, it's goofy redneck, and they don't like the way I sound, and they block it, never give you a chance to see if there's any useful information that could benefit them. Y'all, you can learn from anybody. I've learned from kids. I told somebody this past week, I said, my daughter taught me something years ago. We had baby chickens in a brooder, had them in a Tupperware tub in the laundry room. And we had a red light on them, and I had a bag of chick starter sitting there, and I told her, I said, your job is to make sure you feed these baby chickens. And it's got the little glass jar, you know, that's down in the thing. You turn it upside down, and it self-feeds for a few days. I said, you fill this up today. She was like, well, how do I pour the food? I keep making them out. I said, well, figure it out. You know, I could have come up with something, you know, but so I said, just make something that'll work. You'll figure something out. So I come back, I don't know, week later, something or other, I had to feed the chickens. She was gone. And I opened that sack up and she had took a water bottle and unscrewed the top off of it and then cut a hole in the side toward the upper end, not the bottom out, but the side, so that she could dip and scrape up the food and then turn it up and the neck of the bottle would funnel it down into the jar. And I was like, pretty sharp, learned something. You can learn something from anybody. Just because you're above them, you know, or think you are, don't mean that they may not know something that you might disagree with a lot of what they doing, but you might find something in there that, hey, that's pretty sharp. You know, well, you know, if you can learn from anybody, then you can learn. So we'll never get to a place that we actually already know most everything. That ain't happening. So anyway, how'd I get off on that rant? I don't even know. But anyway, if I find people that's just being obnoxious and rude and stuff, I'll just go ahead and block them, but I don't delete comments. Not really. Unless it's something bad, you know, I will, but I don't really have that problem here, or haven't yet. Heather, thank you for joining. We'll keep praying for you to get your job. Anniversary trip. My anniversary was yesterday. Yesterday, me and Michelle celebrated 22 years, I believe. Yeah. Or 21 years. 21 years of marriage. Yeah. I had to think for a minute. Take Brody to Dream Strike Lake in Loosedale, Mississippi. I checked that out. I was talking to somebody the other day in Loosedale, Mississippi. Somebody messaged me from Loosedale. Raymond Rogers, my leg is all well. We are good to go with the leg. In fact, I ain't even put nothing on it in a week or so. The only thing I'm struggling with now, is my elbow. My elbow is the only problem I have right now, and I'm holding off on making it. I ain't made any pottery in 2 weeks because I'm trying to let this heal. I'll tell y'all what I did. Week before last, I made an order of pottery. I worked 2 days, worked hard all day for 2 days, and I made a whole order of pottery of the stuff that I could make. I've got a lot of stuff I got to pour for slip, but I ain't got the slip. I got to go to West Point and get it. So it'll be next week before we get to that part of it. But my elbow was hurting. What hurts is that rolling pin rolling that clay out, because you've got to roll it out to a certain degree before you run it through that slab roller table. Well, rolling that back and forth, I mean, it'd get to burning like fire up and down right in here. My elbow hurts right there on that funny bone that sticks out. So I took my wild lettuce tincture that morning. Boom, I just took the bottle and took a little sip out of it. I didn't take no shot glass full, but I took a little more than a spoonful. And it's an alcohol tincture. I took a little sip of it, set it down. It's so bitter, it'd curl your eyelids up. But I worked, my elbow didn't bother me none that day. That night it hurt just a little, started burning. The next morning I got out there, I took another shot of that wild lettuce. I worked all day that day. The third day I was through what I was doing, I started doing something else, and my elbow hurt like crazy because I had numbed the pain and overworked it 2 days. So the wild lettuce works, but it really ain't good for you because it'll cause you to tear up something more than it already is. So what I'm doing now is I ain't made no pottery. I'm trying to let that heal. And hopefully it'll get well enough in a week or two. Somebody told me to get one of them copper bracelets and put on this arm that's got the magnets in it, and they say that will heal that. I don't know. It's worth a try. Harold Neely, our church used to do some live streaming, but we finally quit. It was more of a hindrance than it was a help because of the way we did it. we had a phone that we set up toward the front of the church. And if it was up there, we had a lot of people that would not go down there and get prayed for because they didn't want to be in front of that camera. And out of respect for them and the benefit of the actual service, they did away with it, which I totally agree with. I don't have any of my actual preaching on video. I did record part of it. My daughter was going to record it, and then her phone didn't have no storage, and she gave me part of the front, and then my brother-in-law filmed the majority of the rest of it, so there's like a gap in the middle of it, 10 minutes in where there's a segment, there ain't no, and I was going to put it on YouTube, but keep it private or unlisted where I could just share it with somebody that I wanted to, so that it was there for my benefit. But it really was, I just didn't worry about it. I never even made it into a video. Larry, I've got one of them copper fit pressure bands somewhere, and I need to locate it. I don't know right where it's at, but I've got one. I actually had bought it for my knee, and I think I got the wrong thing, and it was too little for my knee. It was actually an elbow one, and I had to buy another one for my knee when I was having trouble with it. But I don't know, I can't put my hands on it. I hunted all day today for that. Well, not all day, but I hunted for an hour for them moccasins I can't remember now who. Somebody sent me me and Brody some stuff, bunch of gifts, powder horn bags, bunch of nice stuff, necklaces and stuff. Sent me a pair of moccasins to make. Well, I decided, I want to make them before this fall. And so I was going to use them. The reason I hadn't made them is I wanted to find a good material to make the patterns on where I would have patterns to go by so I could make some more. And I couldn't find them. I finally did find them. But, oh, hell, I looked for them and looked for them. I haven't found arnica, Joe. I don't know that we've got arnica here. There's a lot of the big churches that live stream, and if you've got enough money to get a camera set up in the sound room and make it look good where it don't pick up people's talking. Our biggest problem was the phone was just sitting down there in the thing. Well, anybody that was saying anything around it, there was stuff being said that didn't need to be broadcast. I mean, when you're dealing with people in real life, there's just some people that say things that ought not say, but they say it anyway, and then it's for everybody to hear, and they don't realize everybody's heard it, and it ain't a good thing. Something about this elbow is the tendons in it are torn some kind of a way. I don't know exactly what's going on with it, but it's like fire. It goes up here, and right now it's sore to touch that bone right there. So I don't know. Yeah, Harold, we try to not do church for show, or at least that ain't why I go there. Our church has dwindled down in the years, but now we've been fighting. Our church has been fighting spiritually. I mean, fighting hard. Everything that could go wrong has went wrong. Anybody that could get their feelings ruffled has got them ruffled. And to say it'll get better, you can't. It should. But when the devil fights, there's always a possibility that he wins out and the church, just gives up and be like, well, we didn't make it. But usually he fights when he knows there's a great potential there. And there's a possibility of revival in that church I'm in, a big revival. The problem is are we willing to have it, And it takes everybody that's there getting on the same page and deciding let's have revival for it to happen. Just because the Lord prophesied, hey, this church is going to have revival one day, don't mean it's going to happen in my lifetime, It'll happen when there's enough people there that's in the right frame of mind to do it. The Lord can promise you something. The Lord promised Jeroboam a tenth part of the kingdom of Israel. You know, when he divided it in 10 parts, he was going to give him they divided it in 12 parts. The 12 tribes, he said, I'm going to give you 10 of the tribes. I'm going to keep 2 of them as seed, unto David. And he promised Jeroboam blessings and everything else. And Jeroboam never got the blessings that God gave him because Jeroboam was not obedient. And as like Rehoboam, it said they hearkened not unto the words of the old wise men, but they listened to the advice of the young men. And that spirit is in our world today. Nobody want to listen to the wisdom of the old timers and boomers and all them. We want new young people's ideas. And that ain't the way God works. God gave wisdom to older people. Old men have wisdom because they have experience. And that spirit of Jeroboam and Rehoboam is in our world today, and it's in our churches. And when a church won't listen to the wisdom of the old men that's in that church, and all they do is do what the young people want to do, your church will dwindle to nothing, because that's not how you grow and lead. And if you don't believe me, you go to the book of Kings and you read about Rehoboam, and you see what happened. Jeroboam never got the promises that God promised him because he didn't obey God. And in fact, they told him at the end, they said, in your lifetime, said you did more evil than any king before you. So, just because your church has been prophesied, promised revival, don't mean it's going to happen. That means you'll have revival if you'll have it. God has spoken into existence, and it can be there. And you may not have it. There may be a generation comes after you gets to have it. So, Jason, I ain't really thought about making a bone set into a topical salve. I know we think of bone set as a fever reducer, breaking fever. Matt Orth is the one that sent me them moccasins. I got them out today. I said, I'm going to make them moccasins. I want to film the video, and I dug, and I don't know where in the world I'd put them. I finally found them. I had put them up on a shelf, so I got them out, opened them up, looked at them. But what I want to do is I want to draw the pattern off on another hide that I've got to have that pattern so that once I make them and wear them out, because if I make them and like they're too tight or too big, I can adjust some things. But I wanted a pattern to go by. But yeah, I've got them, and we're gonna put them together probably here in coming weeks, hopefully. Still got the TP going on. I've worked on the TP some this week. I'm working on making my button hole or my lacing pin holes. Let me show you. So I have got 2 of these strips right here. I have hemmed these once all the way around the edges. And this is like 6-8 foot long, I don't remember. So this will have to get sewed onto the TP now. And I hadn't filmed making this. I just got out here and made a little here, there, and yonder. It's been too hot to sit here and film. You sew this onto the thing, onto the edge of the TP, and it'll be above the door. And when you bring the 2 parts of the TP and overlap them, this will be there, and it reinforces and gives you a double piece of fabric for the lacing pins to go through. So, in other words, I'll cut my buttonholes in here, and Michelle said her machine that she had in there would whatever you call it, around them buttonholes to reinforce them. So she may do that part, but I have been working on a TP a little here, there, and yonder. Uncle Sasquatch, what did he give you to put on your heel? John Thomas, you talking about fighting that fight. I'll tell you this. I stood in the pulpit. I wasn't preaching. I was just doing a part of service. I helped lead service. I'll do the prayer request or one segment of something between songs and just help out, just doing ministry. And I felt the Holy Ghost one day. The Holy Ghost moves on me and shares with me what I need to do. People that don't believe in that, you're missing out a great part of living for God. That should operate. And I got up there, and I knew I had been struggling with something. And then I got to thinking about it, and I heard one of the other young men said something about he had a dream about one of the other men in the church. He said, I saw you in a dream. He said, and you was backed up in a dark corner. And I sat there on that platform, and God began to open my eyes. He didn't show me nothing. I already knew all this stuff, but he began to allow me to realize it. Every man in there was fighting against stuff that off the wall, like big stuff. One of them was going to the doctor for this, that, there. 2 or 3 of them was going to the doctor. One has recently lost his wife. One has, that different things, spiritual stuff, financial straits, job situation. Every one of them was fighting something. And I had been fighting some stuff. I knew my physical body had been attacked. I had problems going on in my body right then. Nobody knew about it. It wound up being a small thing, but I didn't know at the time what it was. And I burned my leg, and I stood up and I said, I want to line all the men up across the front of the church. I said, we got a spirit that is attacking the men of this church. We prayed over that. Man, I think everything is getting better. It wasn't my prayers. It was the whole church prayed. The men prayed together. Pastor prayed. It wasn't like, hey, I prayed and God done this. It wasn't me. Now the spirit is attacking our women. That is what my wife's dealing with right now. It's a spiritual battle because after she went today, she started talking to some other ladies. There's at least 3 or 4 other ladies going through some of the exact same things that she is, like strong depression and anxiety stuff. Y'all, you do not go to a doctor and get antidepressants for depression and anxiety. It's one thing to try to sort of help fight it with her, but it is a spiritual battle that has to be fought spiritually. And until you beat it spiritually, it's going to continue to manifest in your flesh. So now we've got the men past the battle, the women are fighting the battle. So John, the same thing is probably happening in your church. And that's how you're going to have to address it. Michael Williams said you just got back from Bruce's neck of the woods. He's talking about Bruce Mitchell. I talked to him this week. I told him, I said, I want a Bruce Mitchell autographed picture for Brody's birthday. He said, I have got you fixed up for Brody's birthday. He should be happy. Cost us 1 fresh Washington Parish watermelon. Well, thank you, sir. I did see where you had called earlier. I didn't answer it because I was in the process of getting this phone set up for the live, and I'll holler at you tomorrow, and we'll see what's what. Eric and Barbara Flemings, good night. Thank y'all for joining in. They probably done well gone. Use some earth magnets, Mark said. David Russian, I hadn't really decided what I'm going to use for pens yet. I guess I'll figure that out the day I decide to make pens. Willow is a good choice, though. Absorbent veterinary liniment, Uncle Sasquatch says, what he put on his heel. Castor oil wrapped in flannel put on your elbow. Randall Ross, how are you tonight? Good to see you. Tommy, I had that experience talking about rubbing other places with liniment on your hand. I done that with jalapenos one time. Wasn't a good experience. Gable Reeves, how are you? It's been a good week. Teresa Wright said too much negative energy. Tommy, she actually got sick on that. She did not, when they went on that trip, while she was at Silver Dollar City, they would not let her ride any ride. That is where she discovered that her blood pressure was out of sight, was on that trip. So it started before she went up there. John Thomas, you can bet when the devil goes to work, it ain't on just one person at one place. He's fighting all of us, but Becky Pete, Michelle has been struggling to the point of not feeling like doing nothing. Just no energy, no desire, panicky, worried about sickness, worried about being, I mean, it's just like a pressure. And it's not just her. We're finding out there's several ladies in church doing the same thing. I tell you what, she had a lady told her to do. They prayed, had prayer meeting. That lady told her, said to go home and get a broom and sweep the devil out of your house. You get your house and you anoint over every door with oil, and you start praying in that house and start sweeping the floor, and you sweep that devil out of your house. Sweep him out of the house. That's what she said they done, and she's been feeling good all day. So, do that, Becky. Get your broom and get to praying with that broom and start sweeping and sweep the devil out. Tell him to get out. Tell him out loud, devil, get out of my house in Jesus' name. Modern Outdoors said, would you ever magnet fish? I have magnet fish. That's how I caught Jonah the knife. 3 days of me dropping a magnet down on the ground. Boom, 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 click. Oh, yeah, but I don't know that we've got good places that you'd find anything other than bicycles and hubcaps, but you know, you never know. I'm sure there's probably something down in there. But yeah, I would definitely do it. It seems like I'm a junker. I like treasure hunting now. I think I would like the metal detecting, like Jace Robertson them do. I wouldn't know what I found when I found it, you know, like some people, but it would be fun. I've heard WD-40 is good. Let me go fill my coffee pot up. Bad dog. Yeah, I've made about 6 knives this week. Apparently, I'm in the knife making business, so email me if you need a knife. I said I wasn't taking orders on knives, and I'm taking orders on knives, I reckon. But now I don't know how long it'll take me to get them all made. I know I've got about another 5 or 6 to make. Now, one guy wanted one. I made one today, emailed him. I ain't heard nothing back. You get about a day and a half before I move on and email somebody else, hey, you want this knife? Now, if you email me, oh, I didn't get your email, I'll make you a knife. I'll still get your knife, but, you know, I'm trying to keep some money flow going, you know what I mean? Can't get broke. We done got big spending, you know. I done got to buying that big bucket of ice cream a week. I ain't It's took me 2 weeks to work on this bucket of ice cream. I've been trying to hold off. I tell you this, I poured some of that plum jelly that wasn't real gelled up good on it. Tastes just like orange sherbet. Well, while I could fill my coffee up, I went ahead and got me uh, another piece of them ribs. Let me shine my coon down there and see it. I bet he's in them corn. See if I see corn tassels shaking. I don't see nothing now. He probably down there with his hand in one of them canned traps. Where he's at now. Anyway, before I eat this next piece, we never did. Dear Lord, we're so thankful for this food, this time of fellowship. Lord, all these people that have joined in with us tonight. We pray, Lord, that you bless each and every one of them. Bless this food, Lord, that it would give us strength and good health. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. I know I eat all that other and that's blessing, but I usually, when I sit down with a plate, I say the blessing, but I'm over there snacking and you don't really think about it. I don't know where Roscoe went. I have not used Helgamite. I don't know that we have a lot of them. We may do it, I don't know. This is starting to dry out. It's been on there long enough, but it ain't black and burn up. Wild game. I think this is deer. Well, eating it, I know for a fact this is deer. Well, there comes somebody licking their lip. There you go. Oh, I dropped it. I didn't want him licking my finger. I need to get some different bandanas since we don't see you in hats made so we know what you're working on each day. I have got a Tupperware tub full of bandanas. I've got I got every color they make, I think. I had thought about making me some. Modern Outdoors, good night. Lady Hammer, I'm ready to get the TP done too. I really am. I've just had garden and a lot of other stuff going on. I ain't had time to get out here and just work on it. That buttonhole business is going to be time consuming. Once I get past the buttonholes, the rest of it will be a breeze. Well, Jimmy Glenn, you need to come on back to church with me. And we'll go to some houses and pray out some demons. He double fights me because I'll pick a fight with him. I don't sit around waiting for him to attack me. Because if you ain't fighting him, he's already got you where he wants you just about it. Philip's got a dog that he named Dog. And he likes watching you. Here, come here. Come here. You want the bone? There's your bone. I can't go through stuff because I got grease all over my hands. And I hate to wipe it on this yellow shirt. I don't wear this shirt no whole lot. It's about to get too little. But that meat getting tough down in that part right there. Good for your teeth, though. Get through eating this, your jaw muscles look like a pit bull. I walk around growling at folks. I was listening to some William Johnstone last week while I was working on knives. And one of the videos where he was, the guy Preacher is the mountain man in that series, and he had a dog that they called Dog. Larry, you gone? See ya. Go fishing, catch some big ones. Catch one of them gollywhoppers. Miss Becky, we'll see you. Good night. Maybe time for everybody to go to bed, reckon. Me and Roscoe ain't gonna be no long time before we decide to go. Roscoe ain't nothing else on there but him. That's a big old chunk. He's gone with it. Look at him. If he can't eat it, he'll bury it. I run over one with a lawnmower today. He's buried somewhere out there. Put them in the cooler. Put them in the cooler. Love and light and many blessings. Pray often. Gotta put sheets on the bed. We wear out sheets washing them because that dog right back there, he sleeps. He either wants to be right up against me or he'll go to under the cover and get at my wife, get at Michelle's feet. But he don't never wash his feet good before he gets under my cover. And every night we just about got to pull the sheets off the bed and change them. It feel like you're sleeping in a sandbox. Don't never start letting your dog sleep to bed, because once he does, he ain't gonna sleep nowhere else, and you love him too much to tell him not to. But I'm talking about it'll cost you a fortune in sheets, because you gotta wash them at least 2 or 3 times a week. I ain't kidding you. Unless you're just sort of nasty and don't worry about it. But, you know, it's that grit that really gets you. Indiana Jones was named after the family dog. Harold Neely said, my wife just read me this quote. The evil one thought he took everything from Job, but Job's everything was God. Well, the devil found out something about me when he attacked my health, because everybody around me was saying, you need to go to the doctor. You need to find out what's wrong with that. And I mentioned it in my Just in Time last week. I was passing some blood. It turned out to be an internal hernia. And I'm over it now. Beat it with prayer and preparation H. But at the point of not knowing what it was, it could have been cancer. It could have been anything. All I know was I was blessed. And everybody was like, you need to have that checked out. You know, I was like, I'm not going to the doctor. I said, the Lord made this body. He can heal it. If he's through with me, call me on home. I'm ready to go. I ain't going to the doctor. And I refuse to be scared. I refuse to, you know, it's up to God. I told God, I sat out there one day on a log out there or somewhere. I sat down somewhere and I was just talking to the Lord like I always do. I said, Lord, I said, I'm trusting you. I said, I need you to heal me. I said, now, if you through with me, ready for me to go, I said, I'm ready to come. But I said, if you got work for me to do here, I said, I need you to heal me where I can do it. I said, I'm not going to be scared to die. I said, I've got everything right in my life as far as I know. If you ready to take me home, I'm ready to come. But I'm not finna run up no Dr. Bill and go down there and listen to them tell me all kind of stuff, put me on all kind of medicine. It ain't happening. I ain't going. Everybody's like, oh, you liable to die. I said, well, I'll go on to paradise. I ain't scared to go. It's up to the Lord when I go. And when he says, let's go, I'm ready to go. And am I sitting here wanting to die? No. No, I love life. I'm living the best life I've ever lived in my entire being. I've got a little boy I love. I love to hunt and fish. I love to make knives and make pottery and film videos. I mean, I love doing what I'm doing right now. But I'm not afraid, and I'm not going to let the devil convince me that I'm scared to death. No, I'm not going to live in fear. I refuse to. That's why I don't worry about safety equipment. I'm not going to be afraid to get hurt, afraid to die, and live my life in fear. If you spend your whole life afraid to die, you'll never live. You'll never really live. You'll be afraid to live. To be afraid to die is being afraid to live. I mean, it's just simple truth. It's basic facts. You either trust God or you don't. You know? Do you believe God? I hear a lot of people talking about, oh, all you got to do is believe. Well, you know, there's a lot to believing. Do you believe he'll heal you? If you do, why are you going to the doctor? If you believe God will take care of you, why are you taking pain pills and anxiety pills? And why are you headed to the doctor every day? I mean, do you believe him or not? As long as you're trying to handle it and you're trying to go to the doctor and you're trying to fix it, he ain't going to touch it, you know? Now, I do believe he give me herbs and medicine stuff to help me for simple things, but when you got something going on you have no clue about, like this was, I didn't know what was going on with me, what was wrong. I said, God, I put this in your hands. I'm not going to worry about it. This is you made this body. This is your temple. Your word says my body is a temple of your spirit. Lord, if you want your temple to be broke down and hurting and in pain, then that's your temple. You know, I mean, you either believe it or you don't. That's a simple fact. A lot of people like to say they believe it, and then when it gets down to it, they really don't believe it. And I hate to be the guy that's that hard and straightforward, but you rob yourself of a lot of blessing because you've allowed the devil to scare you to death. You know? It's just truth, you know? I mean, Jimmy Glenn, the devil knows you got a lot of potential. He's more afraid of you than you think. All right, I read comments. I know when somebody's sitting there watching and going, well, he's just sitting there lost. You get that? Get that look like, I didn't do that on camera. Y'all didn't see that. Well, I wonder what that smoked pork is looking like by now. I'm gonna take that in there. I'm gonna probably bring a pan out here and put it over in there and start ripping it off the bone here when I get off of this. Because once I do that, I'll have it all over my hands. I won't be able to handle the screen and all. But that's what I'm gonna do with it. And she made me baked beans in there, but I'll eat them later. I ain't in no. I done snacked enough to probably wait and eat it all tomorrow. Fear is faith in a bad outcome, Jesus said, and not doubt in your heart. He looked at that bunch on that boat that day. They was all panicking, woke him up and said, don't you even care that we about to all drown and shipwreck? They said perish, but you know, that's King James. He said, oh ye of little faith. They're scared to death. Fear is the absence of faith. Jason McAllister, good night. Fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Frank Lent, God bless you, my brother. Oh, Lord, Lord, Lord. So. Oh, hopefully, y'all, we can get some fishing in some point next week that we can actually be successful at catching something. Depending on the rain, I don't know if we're going to, they got rain forecast for several days next week. I got a video. I don't know if they ever wrote me back an email or not, so I don't know if the Tidewee hunting blind video will come out. I'm waiting on them to send me links to the video to do it. And I got to do the product review. That video will come out, and then sometime I got to review this other lot. And then I got several companies trying to get me to do other product reviews, but I just ain't wrote them back. I don't want to keep doing product review videos. I don't really enjoy doing them. I like to share with you guys products that are coming out, just so you're aware of what they are, new stuff. I mean, but you know, it gets, I don't know, I'm not a huge fan. It seems to take 2 or 3 things. It seems like every time you turn around, you got to do a product review on something. I don't know. It's a double-edged sword, you know. It's like this hunting blind. I'm going to tell y'all, I've got an Ameristep hunting blind. I bought it years ago, paid my money for it. And I liked it, but I never had no success out of it. It had these Velcro windows in there. When you open one up, well, you had to just leave a big gap. Well, you know, you're moving around so you could see out everywhere. This blind they sent me has one side that you can't see out. The back where the door is blacked out. And it's got a window in it. The other 3 sides you can just see slam through every bit of it. I mean, the walls is see-through. So, you know, it don't weigh a whole lot. It's big, plenty room in it. Plenty room for 2 chairs in there for 2 people to sit in the thing. So, I'm looking forward to going hunting in it. I think y'all enjoy the video. Another thing, y'all, the black powder video I did the other day. I uploaded the whole video, and I thought about it. I said, I did not put any music on that video. So I deleted it. Absolutely deleted it. Deleted the where I had transferred it from iMovies where I edit stuff. And it goes into another pictures file, and I deleted it there too. I had already uploaded it to YouTube, but deleted off YouTube. I deleted it out of pictures. I went back into iMovie, added the music, retransferred it over, and then re-uploaded it. And I was like, okay, the music's on there. I never watched it again. I just turned it on when it got time. And then Michigan Prepper's like, I guess there's no music on this. And I was like, what? And I went and turned it on, started listening to it, watching the video. Normally, I watch all my videos. Seems kind of conceited, but that's how you catch and know, because things are different. It's stuff like this. That's the only way you catch it, is if you watch your own videos. Well, I didn't have time. I was busy yesterday. When I uploaded that video, I was down there rearranging a knife shop, and I was having to do it in between going to eat dinner with my mom and them, and then we went to eat supper with her mom and them last night, so I was busy all day. I didn't sit down and like do nothing. I can't. I really can't. So I don't know what happened to the music. Honest to God, I'm fumfuzzled on why there was no music on there. Because I deleted the video. It wasn't like, well, you clicked on the wrong one and re-uploaded the same one again. No, I deleted it before I ever transferred it back over. So I don't know. I don't know what happened. I went back into iTunes and played it, and the music was playing through it. Stranger things happened, and I was like, oh, well, it ain't the end of the world. They had a B-roll that had no music. Like the old days. You know, we did one for old school style when there wasn't no music. You know, it was all right. Tommy, I do love that. Somebody, I don't know who commented, Hawkenstein, but I do like the name Hawkenstein, and I don't know if that's something that's like, I hadn't never heard it, but maybe there's other. Larry Reese, I know, has built some rifles out of scrap parts. He sent me pictures here not long ago, him building a rifle out of scrap parts he had left. So I don't know if Hawkenstein is like something that everybody knows. Hey, when you build a rifle out of scrap parts, it's a Hawkenstein. If it is, then good deal. I'm new to some of this. I mean, new to it as in the world of it. I've known about it, shot black powder for a while, but not into it like we are now. Hadn't talked to other people about it, in other words. Might have blowed the music slam off, JL327. It might have. Harold Neely and Dipnet's a man's best friend in there. Franken Boomer, yeah. And I had fun, y'all, with the blowing down the barrel. When I first started blowing the smoke out of the barrel, I just like to see that smoke blow out of that hole down there. For number one, it blows my mind why anybody's got a problem with it, because it's a muzzle loader. It's not like, it can rechamber another round in there. I just shot it. That's why it's full of smoke. And I know fire come out the end of the barrel. Now, if I shot and smoke didn't come out the other end and it just flamed up out of the touch hole, well, I'm not going to do that. It's very clear when something goes array and the projectile don't come out the end. In other words, it could be in there burning and go off, But when you've just shot and you've seen all the smoke go out the barrel, the barrel's clear. And when you blow through it, you see smoke coming out. It's clear. It can't shoot again. You can't get hurt. The biggest concern I think some people have is, well, if there's an ember in there and you blow it and it turns into a coal, then when you pour powder in there, it's going to ignite. Well, newsflash, if that's in there smoldering ember, it's going to do that regardless of whether you blowed in it or not. Your blowing in it could possibly hurry it up to burn it on up. But if it's in there smoldering, you blowing on it's not going, not blowing on it ain't going to prevent it from blowing the powder out of the barrel when you pour good powder in there. So I don't know. Michael Williams said you can call it Dracula after it draws first blood. Yeah. But I probably ain't gonna make a big deal out of blowing out of the barrel every time. I just wanted to have some fun with it because I've had some people commenting. And one thing I seen somebody in one of these groups on Facebook about, they was bragging about all their life they'd never blew down the barrel of a muzzleloader. I was like, well, you don't know what you're missing. It's a lot of fun. But you know, I mean, if somebody don't want to do it, don't do it. But I can't see where it's a problem. You know what I mean? Like, I'm one of them people. You do things the way you like to do it. You know, there's the philosophy. But if it's like, you know, don't take a loaded revolver and look down the barrel. You know, that's kind of a, if somebody says don't do that, I understand why. That's a good idea. You don't need to do that. But you know, if it's just something that ain't hurt nothing and you don't like it, it's like a seatbelt. Okay? A seatbelt, wearing a seatbelt will save your life. It's a fact. Not an opinion, it's a fact. There are instances where they can take your life. You get trapped into a car, it catches on fire, and the stuff is malfunctioned and it won't release, and you panic and you can't get out, and the car is burning and you panicky. You might be trapped in there and burn up, you know. So, me not wearing a seatbelt is not going to injure anybody else. I'm not going to harm nobody. The only person at risk is me. And that's a choice. But there's other people that think, well, if you're not wearing it, I need to get on to you for not wearing it. I don't know what Roscoe's barking right here at something. He's probably smelling them raccoons. He's looking at me real funny. It's like PFDs, you know, life jackets in a canoe. They'll save your life. If I'm in deep water that's very big, I wear one. When we were in Smith Lake, I wore a life jacket the whole time we was swimming over there and stuff. Just, it's a deep lake. It's hard to get out on the bank. There's a lot of waves. There's a lot of boat traffic. A lot go on. I had a life jacket on. Down here in this creek, I can stand up in 90% of it. Anywhere that I can't stand, there's not other boats ripping by me constantly where it gets in a hairy situation that I can't swim to the bank if I do turn it over. So I don't wear one there. But there'll be people that comment and they'll just get mad because I'm not wearing one. Well, you're not going to drown because I'm not wearing a life jacket. You see what I'm saying? So why is it important for you to try to make everybody else do like you want to do? Same way with blowing down the barrel. You know, it ain't going to hurt nobody but me if it does blow up and kill me. So why does other people have to impose what they like on other people? That's what I don't agree with. To sit here and say, well, you know, it's safe or unsafe or whatever really ain't got nothing to do with it. If it's harming a kid, you know, like Brody, he always has a seatbelt on in his seat every time. He's not old enough to make that decision. There's a lot of things in life that are that way. But once you're a grown adult, if you're not endangering somebody else, now what difference does it make to other people what you do? Why are there laws in place where you could be fined for not obeying when it ain't hurting nobody else? People say, oh, insurance. I ain't got insurance. I got vehicle insurance, but, you know, I mean, insurance ought not be a law that you got to have it, you know? I don't think. But that is the best answer because it's all about money. Anyway, I get on them rants every now and then. I don't know what Roscoe was down there griping at. What'd you see down there, Roscoe? I shine right here. I can't see all of it, but I try to look, see if I see any of them corn tassels, corn. Well, I don't see nothing. Swap it over to the green. I don't think that makes no difference. I think I'm about ready to put another battery in it. I shined it the other night out there. You can see a good ways, though. That's my pea patch right out there. I'll be looking for them deer in it. Y'all, I don't even know what I'm gonna do with my peas. My mama and them called the other day and said, you need to pick these peas. We don't feel like picking them. So we went down there and picked 5 buckets of peas out of their patch. Put them up. Michelle said, our freezer's full of peas. So we still got peas from last year. We've got all these peas from this year. She said, we don't need no more peas put up. So I don't know what I'm going to do with mine when they get ready. I think my dad-in-law wants some, but Lord, Lord, Lord. Tommy, you know, in all reality, that you talking about he said I need to get rid of the pillow too. As a joke, he wasn't being serious because there's a bunch of people got mad about me shooting off that pillow. I really am. I've got a pair of old blue jeans. I've already made me a sandbag. I just haven't filled it full of sand and all. I'm gonna put me a sandbag down there. But what I want me a set of shooting sticks that's like a tripod. That goes in there, not the bipod that can move. I want 3 where it's stable and I can put my gun in there and shoot that. Jimmy Glenn, we'll be praying for you girls, son. I got some crutches up here in the attic if you need them. I really do. There's some crutches in the attic of my shed. I had about 3 pair at one time, but I hope I don't ever need them. Well, John and Deer will probably get them out here by the time they get ready. I don't know. We've got them run out of everything. And Tommy Litchfield, I think old Ben Franklin was right. Everybody was willing to sacrifice all of their freedom for a safe world. They want, and what we've done is in this, well, it ain't this country, it's this world. We protect the weak and the ignorant to the point that they have taken over. The weak and the ignorant outnumber the people with common sense, the strong that would survive whatever. And they're made to be idiots now, you know, because all the ignorant people's like, oh, you don't know, you know. And with the internet, anybody can run their mouth. So, you know, that's kind of where we stuck at. It'll go on like this a while, and then it'll get worse. What this old man I used to know said, and it did for him. I think it's gonna get better one day. One day we're gonna be in paradise. That's why I ain't too attached to this world. We so busy trying to hang on to this life that we ain't never gonna enjoy heaven, or we don't even want to go. We want to stay here in this miserable world. But I'm going to make the best of it while I'm here. I'm going to have fun. Kick up my heels and have a good time. Well, y'all, it is 10 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are? I'm fixing to shut this down. Me and Roscoe is about ready for either ice cream or a popsicle. I didn't have no ice cream last night, so I can have ice cream tonight. I am, y'all, limiting some of my fattening stuff. Me and Michelle both are trying to somewhat eat a little more healthy. I have got to shed some pounds. I'm not comfortable. One thing, during hunting season, I do a lot of walking and exercising then, and I don't want to have to start over then. I want to be somewhat in shape now or before I start. So I am trying to regulate what I eat and not eat so much. So I have not been eating a lot of ice cream, but I'm probably fixing to go have me a bowl of ice cream. Vanilla ice cream with plum jelly poured right on the top of it, and it'll taste just like orange sherbets. Oh, y'all, jelly is the way to go to flavor ice cream. Always buy pure vanilla ice cream And don't buy that stuff in them cardboard tubs. People is too stingy to give you a good plastic bucket you can put crappie fillets in. Don't deserve to sell me ice cream. They make good ice cream, them old folks do, but they too stingy to give me a good plastic bucket with it, and I don't buy it because of that. It burns people up when I tell them that. They go, oh, you. And there ain't but one bigger argument, and that's over which mayonnaise is the best. It's Duke's and Blue Plate, and then there's some other I had never heard of, and I heard there's a bunch of people that's like, oh, this is the best. And there's somebody started talking about Hellman's, and I was like, no, you didn't. I'll be honest with you, I can eat Duke's or Blue Plate. My mama raised me on Hellman's. But any mayonnaise is better than an old dry sandwich, I'll tell you right now. But you get folks fired up over which one of them mayonnaises is the best. I mean, they'll get fighting mad. They get madder than if you told them a Dodge truck wasn't no good. Woo! So anyway, I'm going to leave y'all arguing about mayonnaise. Thank y'all for watching. I'm fixing to go pull this pig shoulder off of the smoker, and I'm going to rip it up in a bowl and pour some barbecue sauce on it and have pulled pork sandwiches tomorrow because I'm full now. I'm going to have ice cream. Now, I ain't eating none of that tonight. And probably lay up and, I don't know, might put something on YouTube tonight. I don't know. I've watched about all the End of the Wilderness series. I took a break from them. I have been reading Hanta Yo. I don't know where my book's in the house. I had it outside. I'm slow at it, but it's a pretty good book. Martin Meltzer gave it to me. So I'm going to indulge in one of them tonight. Thank y'all for watching Spirit of the Outdoors, sitting out here for 3 hours live while some old boy talks about this, that, and the other. I really appreciate it. I enjoy it immensely. That's why I keep doing it every week. So thank y'all. We'll see y'all. Y'all have a good night. We'll see you. Maybe there's a video tomorrow. Otherwise, we'll have just in time Sunday morning. Love y'all. We'll see you next time. Remember, the best way to do things is the way you like to do it. We'll see y'all. Y'all have a good one.